Hi, this is Al Pacino, and you're listening to the greatest fucking show. The greatest fucking show! The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve. You dirty, dirty horse. Hoo-ah.
Due to the adult subject matter of the following program, some listeners may find the content offensive, outrageous, or unsuitable. You know, like religious freaks, uptight losers, or little wussy mama's boys. Please listen responsibly.
You're listening to The Vocal Minority with Nick Reynolds and Steve Harness.
Hot. How much time?
You're on.
I love scotch. I love scotch. Scotchy, scotch, scotch. Here it goes down into my belly. That is good.
You're on the air.
How are you? You look awfully nice tonight. Maybe don't wear a bra next time. How much time till we're on?
We're on, Ron.
What?
We're on the air right now.
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Of course we're ready. We're the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.
What is the vocal minority? Dumbass, try and be clear.
We are a talk show where you could get vocal with us. Just a couple of buddies hanging out, talking news, talking politics, talking pop culture, talking about depressing lives, cheerful lives. We got it all, baby.
Yes, indeed, we do. And you've been digging through some classic audio clips there, huh?
Yeah, you remember John Ledbetter, huh?
Yeah, no, that's good stuff. We started this little fine program in the year 2001-ish, give or take, for our first ever tryouts, and then a few years after that. Was that Craig Gass at the beginning there? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, dude, I found all his old clips. I mean, I got a ton of them. I don't have them all loaded yet, but I found them, and he's got some good stuff. Lars Ulrich was on there. I'm going to get that one for you, Steve.
Yeah, Craig Gass. I mean, back in those days, I think Stern had him on a few times, and then he was in Seattle where our show was based out of, so we had him on. He did a whole bunch of great stuff for us. But over the years now, I've seen him all over the place doing all of his voice impersonations. So it's cool.
Yeah, Stern still uses them, dude. I mean, yeah, he's been doing a lot of impressions lately, and yeah, he still uses Craig Gass. Interesting dude. I mean, he's a cool guy, but his parents were both deaf. He was raised in a home with deaf parents and learned how to talk by watching TV. Do you remember that?
Yes. Yeah. So he learned how to mimic all the voices so very well.
He's incredible to watch go through his Rolodex of the people that he does, because you actually kind of see him switch into the mode of that person. It's pretty cool to watch. Shout out to Craig Gass.
Speaking of voices, mine sucks today. So, ladies, I'm sorry. It's not my usual deep, smooth baritone. I don't know what's going on with me.
You sound the same to me, dude. I have those days too, though, where I notice that I don't feel the velvet coming out of my throat.
Right? Doesn't sound as smooth. I feel like we sound more similar today. Normally, I'm just a notch below you. People seem to dispute that readily, but that's how I feel. So.
It's the truth. People always say that we sound alike, and I don't know, maybe it's because we've known each other for so long that I don't think we sound alike. Brewski, what do you think?
No, I wouldn't say you sound alike. You sound similar.
I mean, it's a similar range, I suppose.
Yeah, that's exactly it, yeah.
Male white dudes in their mid-40s or whatever. But I always disputed it heavily, but I will tell you, a couple of years ago, Nick and I are on the same radio station here in Lake Tahoe, and you were on air and you said something, and I was just like, what did I just say? Like, I thought it was recording me. And then I turned it up, and it was you. And I was like, oh, fuck, I guess we do sound alike. Like,
yeah.
Now even I thought it. So.
Well,
anyway.
There must be something there.
Yeah, it's a compliment. Don't worry, for both of us. So.
Hey, welcome to the Vocal Minority, everybody. This is podcast recording number 13.
Ooh, lucky number 13.
Yeah. Is this the floor that they skip in elevators?
It is.
13? Yeah.
Every casino in Lake Tahoe has no 13. There's obviously a floor 13, but they just don't label it that way.
How do they label it?
It just goes from 12 to 14, and you're just supposed to be a moron that doesn't realize floor 14 is really floor 13. So
yeah.
I see. I always wondered about that, dude.
Yeah. You're living in a dream world if you're above floor 12. You're one floor lower than you think, so. Get over it. It's kind of like that scene in Yellowstone when all the cowboys are talking about the superstitions, and then one of the sons walks in and says, "Yeah, it's a good thing I don't believe in any of that bullshit." And I'm the same way. Like, I don't believe in 13 being unlucky or any of that kind of stuff. So.
When I leave the house or even at night, I turn the thermostat down. I have a thing where I can't leave the thermostat on 66.
Well, I'm OCD that way, but it's not based on a whatever you call it, fairy tale.
I always think that I'm leaving the devil's fumes in my home if I got the thermostat on 66, dude. I want nothing to do with it.
That's funny. I definitely have things with numbers, specifically odd and even numbers. That's an OCD thing I still carry around, but yeah, it's kind of like to do on old wives' tales.
The devil's fumes, that's what we used to refer to when my dad was all gassy and had a little too much to eat during the day.
He had bad farts?
Oh, my God.
That you should be in fear of, but not the numbers.
Oh, my God. I'll tell you what, when he worked at this one machine shop near us, he was banned from using a particular bathroom because it was too close to the front office where the ladies all did all the clerical work. Yeah.
Wow. That's bad.
That bad,
it was awful.
That's what I'm living in right now. These dietary digestive issues I've been having. I mentioned this before that I can fart like no one's business, but they never stink. And nowadays, I'm just stinking from what is going on inside of me.
Your body doesn't like it.
No.
We haven't done a check-in, dude. Are you still shitting water?
No. So here's the thing, and I'm somewhat convinced the audience does not want to hear this, but yeah, the medication I'm on has everything solid again, but it's
good.
I'm on the tip of a pin here. Anything could sway me one way or the other, and we don't know why it's going on still, and I still stink. And as I'm trying to get back into the dating world, this is not good. I need to be able to go out for a meal and not have to disappear, and I need to be able to fart subtly and not worry about stinking the whole room out. So come on, medical science,
issues, dude.
Help me out here. It's ridiculous.
My sister's first husband, dude, is the man. I've met two people in my life that I haven't seen in years. I mean, decades. And I can smell their farts if I close my eyes.
Wow.
They were that bad. Of my sister's first husband, dude, I remember specifically we were driving down the road one day, and it was a summer day. Wasn't exceptionally hot, but we had the windows down in his truck. So, getting good airflow through there. He farted, dude, and I didn't even hear it. It was a silent but deadly. And I literally had my eyes watering. And all the windows were down, and that fart must have stayed in there uncontrollably terrible for, 3 or 4 minutes. It was not going away.
Like sticks to your taste buds, that kind of thing?
Oh, yeah. Gosh, dude.
Listen, sometimes that's impressive and fun to pull off, but for the most part, no. I like to be percussive, but have no real bite behind the bark. So
stink-free. How are your farts smelling these days, Brewski?
Oh, same as usual. Not pleasant, but
bouquet, sits well on the palate.
No, nothing like that. Although I let one go the other night, and I had to go pick up a passenger, and I had 5 minutes before I had to go and pick him up, so I had to roll all the windows down in my car.
Right.
And it's like 25 degrees, and I'm on the freeway trying to air out the car,
Yes. I can remember being a kid in the car with my dad, and he would just randomly roll the window down for like 5 seconds and then roll it back up. And I was like, what's he doing? That's weird. Now I know. So, yeah.
Why do you do that?
Well, no. Like I said, I don't usually smell, so it's usually not an issue.
But you used to smell. This not smelling is fairly recent, few years, right?
I guess. I mean, honestly, historically, my farts have never been that bad. It used to be my burps that would offend people. Oh. I can remember our buddy Edgy in Seattle, who was a pretty obnoxious, foul dude. I remember burping in front of him one day, and he looked at me just like, something is wrong with you, dude. Like, what? That stinks. I was like, wow, I offended him. That must be
yeah,
bad.
this coming from the guy who we shared a bong with and all had cold sores 2 weeks later.
Oh, God, I wish Nick was joking about that. But yeah, we did that once where he had a nasty bong that he kept in his car in the parking lot at the radio station. So
It was a huge bong, dude, and he brought it everywhere, covered in like a dirty shirt.
But I prefer a bong, so it was nice that he had it. But yeah, there was one night we're all smoking, and he was complaining about some cold sores, and we're all passing the bong around, and within a week we all had cold sores. It's just,
I remember calling Steve and telling him, like, dude, I got something on my lip. I didn't make the connection, and he was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? So do I."
yeah.
Oof.
That's drug safety advice right there.
Well, are you sure that dirty shirt wasn't something that Ed might have used to do a little cleanup on himself in the car? Or?
I wouldn't doubt it, dude. This is the guy who he was a board op at a radio station we worked with, and he was actually on this show for a while. And he would, when he was in the studio at a radio station, if he would go in there after he had been there for, I don't know, an hour or whatever, he had paper towels.
Yes.
All over, like the computer mouse and the keyboard. Remember how he had just like these greasy paper towels everywhere? And I'm like, dude, we need to be worried about being clean after you've been in here. Like, you have nothing to worry about, bro.
Right. Yeah.
Because he used to do that after our show. Because remember, after our show in Seattle, he was on the board.
Yes.
For the house.
Germophobic of us, or just in general?
I think, yeah, I don't know, but because he was on from like 10 to midnight or something like that after we got off the air.
For the guy that changed his bong water once every 10 years, I will never understand why he was afraid of the mouse at the radio station.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. You saw the people we worked with. You knew what they would do in the studio, especially when they were alone. You know?
I haven't thought about it, but now I will. Thank you.
Hey, dude, listen to this. We worked in radio when the internet first started evolving. And you could go out there and look at porn. So, like, all the guys, you wondered. I mean, I looked up nudies on the as soon as I realized we can look at porn on these computers.
Yeah.
I did it when I was by myself. I'm not saying I jerked it, but I wondered who did, because we had a friend who
I remember this.
Constantly.
Well, remember there was one person we worked with at the Buzz who happened to be at the station late at night, and he walked into the studio, and somebody had their pants around their ankles and was at the board jerking it.
Oh, wow. No, I don't.
I don't remember this now.
Yeah,
was it the dude that was always on before us?
I don't know who got caught. I forget who got caught, but you know who caught him was Double R.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Double R. Double R walked in, and dude was standing at the board at the Buzz, and pants. I mean, pants must have been all the way in because he had to go really down far to pull his pants all the way back up.
But the beater offer is the important part of that story. That's
who
the
was
person
doing it?
I want to know. Yeah.
I've had sex in radio station studios before, gentlemen. Either of you?
I did at the Buzz a few times.
You did?
A few times, huh? Wow, good for you.
Yeah, before I met Jen, there were some chicks I met online, and I had them come up to the station.
Really? I've never heard this story. You brought chicks up to the Buzz Studios when you were board opping and you were banging them?
Yeah.
You were like Tom Likas or something?
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that.
What is this, overnight?
No, it was actually, I shouldn't say this, but it was.
Yes, you should. Go ahead.
It was Saturday afternoon before our show.
Oh.
And every time I banged them, they were in the chair the harness sat in when you did the show that night.
Brewski?
That's funny. Dude, I would have been proud of you. You should have shared that stuff back then. Human resources may have frowned on it, but, you know.
There was one time I was working at this station here, and there's a section of Boston called Charlestown, and this station was on the waterfront. And right near there was this bar called Tavern on the Water. And chicks would come out of the bar, and they'd walk along this boardwalk, and there was this big window that overlooked out there. And as soon as they would come up to the window and they'd start waving, I'd hit the mic button with it all the way turned down, so the lights would be on, and my headphones would be on, and I'd be like, so it'd say on air. Yeah, exactly, on air.
That's awesome.
Oh, it worked so many times. And one time we were on a couch out in the reception area, which was outside our studio, and this lady's on top of me and doing her thing, and all of a sudden we look to our right, and there's one of the cleaners with the vacuum cleaner.
Were they watching you or just going down the hallway?
No, they happened to come around the corner as we were on the couch doing our thing.
That's hilarious. Jeez.
Yeah.
Was this always the same chick?
No, that was in Boston, and no, that was a different chick. There were probably at least 4 or 5 chicks I banged at WBPS in Charlestown.
But Seattle girl, always the same?
No, there was Jen, and there were 2 or 3 girls there.
Oh,
Nice.
Jen did it in the studio?
Yes, yeah. She came up one.
Was she adventurous, dude?
Yes, to she kind of. I didn't feel comfortable doing a lot of different things with her that I did with other women in my life.
Because you loved her, dude.
No, it wasn't that.
Are we talking adventurous as far as having sex in a radio station, or sexual acts that she's willing to do? What are you asking, Nick?
Sexual acts. I mean, just overall. Like, was she a wet blanket, or was she?
No. She was a lot of fun. It just, I don't know, because I knew there were things that weren't her thing.
Yeah,
that I was into, but she was kind of like, I don't know, I might like it. And it's kind of one of those things that you don't want to reveal to even someone you love, because you don't want that to like change the relationship between you.
I've never had that
You
philosophy.
need to slowly hint at it and see if they pick up on it and be like, "Oh man, I'm into that."
Exactly.
Nice.
Rachel and I have a mutual friend, and she was talking to us one day about, unfortunately, her fiance passed away.
Oh.
And but she's talking to us about him. This is pre-pass away.
Oh.
She's talking to us about him, and she was like, so and so is just a freak in the bedroom. And I'm not into a lot of that stuff, but I am into, like, I want to make my partner happy. Okay. And I was like, what does that mean? Like, just anal stuff like that? And she was like, well, like, the most recent is golden showers. He loves for me to piss all over him.
Nice.
And I was like, wow, that's
nice.
I mean, that's a biggie. And I was like, are you into it? And she was like, no, not at all. But I mean, I like the fact that he likes it, so I do it. I pee on his face.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Are we allowed to say this on the interweb? I don't know.
Yeah, you can say whatever we want.
Boy, that's interesting. I always tell women, like, I'm into all the normal kinky stuff, but then I realize, like, everyone's got a different definition of what that means. So I usually 100%. Have to say, I'm into all the normal kinky stuff, just no poo or peas involved in any of it.
Are you kidding me? I would let Jennifer Lawrence pee all over my face as much as she wanted to.
Wow.
You would, huh?
Yeah, but there are certain women I would let do that. I don't like it. It's not my thing. But if she's just like, you know what? It would really turn me on. For Jennifer Lawrence, she can do that. She can get away with that.
Wow.
Absolutely.
It's interesting, dude. I have no interest personally in golden showers.
No.
But this new phenomenon of squirting really has me curious.
Oh, that's not new. Come on.
That's not new at all.
I said new phenomenon. It's like girls not wearing bras. It's everywhere now, dude. People of the younger age variety are doing it.
Surveying. Where are you getting this information from?
Dude, how often am I wrong? Did I know about adults pooping their pants 45 to 55?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yes, no, it's not kind of. Immediately
you know
after
a few
I broadcasted
stories.
it, you started shitting your pants all the time, dude.
Not true. I made it someplace every time, including in the fort. But no, just because you've heard a few anecdotal stories of squirting doesn't mean it's a phenomenon.
Listen,
I would say that anal has become way common nowadays, but squirting, that's not even something a woman can control, by the way.
Sure it is, dude.
No, it's not.
No, it's not actually.
Listen.
Oh my God, my microphone is killing me. Do you fucking hear this?
What's it doing?
It's farting. Steve's microphone's farting.
It's killing me.
It's letting out little squeakers.
The quality of equipment, I just got to knock it around every now and again. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to derail our in-depth conversation.
Like a good wife, right, Steve?
Listen,
knock it around a little bit.
A few more. What's that?
This is what I'm going to tell you,
said,
dude.
It's like a good wife. You got to knock her around a little bit every so often, right?
How dare you? This isn't the honeymooners. Come on.
Right to the moon.
That's right. Yes, Nick. What field research can you cite for me?
This is what I'm telling you. Whether or not you want to believe that it's a trend like women not wearing bras, which it is, because I've got the inside scoop on this, dude. I don't know why. What information do you have that you can deny it so blatantly?
Because I don't see it as a phenomenon. And I've been in the dating world way more than at least you have in these last, 3 years here.
Well,
you can't control it. That's something most porn's, fake, by the way.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the question. I think we should have a female in to speak about this. Nick, you need to make a call.
To who? Where he's getting his research from? Where are you picking this up from?
No, yeah. call the missus. See what she's a woman. She knows these things.
How dare you sully his home like this?
No, she's a respected attorney, and she would never.
Exactly, dude.
Wait,
that
no,
doesn't
wait,
fit with what you're asking me to do.
No.
I know.
No. She would never give us wrong information. Never.
Sure.
Yeah. Well,
Nick, where are you getting this information from? Who has told you this?
listen, dude.
And just because you search it a lot doesn't mean, I'm sure there's 7 million videos for it. Doesn't mean it's a phenomenon.
I'm going to tell you something, dude. And I want you to really take this in. Close your eyes.
Were they talking about this on The View? All of them are squirting now?
No, they're not. But
you want to picture Whoopi squirting?
No.
Listen, do you want to know what's going on, or you want to keep jacking around here?
Go ahead.
Listen. All right, now listen.
Tell me what's going on, then I'll start jacking around.
Yeah.
How descriptive it is.
Listen, squirting is something that you can control. It can also be done, and you can't control it. But there's a method to make people squirt.
Well, yes, there is.
No.
Yes, there is, dude.
For some women that have enough fluid going on, kind of like, pinching the end of a water balloon, I get you can maybe get it to squirt a little more, but it is so rare to have that much fluid involved, let alone being able to make it squirt. So again, where are you getting this from?
Just
Cite your sources.
I'm researching, dude. I'm researching this, and I would advise that you go research it. Listen,
Would you?
Pornhub
My
is not
experience.
research. Okay.
Would you like to know my experience?
Sure. No, I don't know if I do actually, but go ahead.
No, well, yeah, I did about a half hour ago.
Yeah.
My ex, every single time we had penetrative intercourse, especially in particular positions, she would coat everything on my body. It would just nonstop.
Whoa, hold on. Are we talking squirting, or she was just so moist?
No,
that it was just
nope,
everywhere?
just squirting while I was banging away, and it would just start coming out. And
But okay, let me get more in detail. Was it coming out because you were making it with in and out motion, or are you saying at orgasm she would actually start squirting?
Both, actually.
Okay. Well, so then she's one of them. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
she's one of what, dude?
And then
There are few women that can do it, is my point. So how is it a phenomenon?
But here's the other
Dude,
thing.
it's not the case, Sarnas. I'm telling you, dude, that many people are doing this now, and I don't know why you would say that it's not a phenomenon. It is.
How many women have you been with in the last 10 years? One? Brewski?
Hey, dude, I don't have to.
Come on.
I mean,
more
how
than
many? You know what's happening in Iran. When's the last time you've been there, dude? I'm telling you right now that I've done the research. I know.
Again, I can sort, CNN as my source for Iran knowledge. Where are you getting this from? I still haven't heard it.
Listen,
porn sites?
No, not porn sites, dude.
You're having conversations at mixers and women are just sharing this with you?
you know what? I don't remember the websites that I'm reading the information on, but I'm reading it. It's studies that are done. Okay. I wouldn't lead you astray, dude. If you want to take some time over this next week and try and find out that I'm wrong, you are more than welcome to do that. I didn't come to the gunfight with ammunition. I didn't think I would be shot down so quickly here. I'm trying to tell you.
It's a weird thing to say that it's a phenomenon all of a sudden. The bra thing, women not wearing bras, yes, phenomenon. I'm hearing it in other podcasts, TV shows. Like
you
literally
didn't think
saw
it was a phenomenon the first time I brought it up.
Well, no, but you and Brewski were well aware of it. I was out of that loop. But I'm just saying, like, it's a phenomenon that women are squirting nowadays.
It's wonderful.
It's only a certain percentage of women that can. So my point is, how is it becoming a phenomenon?
It's bullshit, dude. Any woman can squirt. You gotta
here's the thing.
Go ahead.
Well, actually, I just found an article that said that less than 50% of women can do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Actually, less than 50. So what does that mean? 1%, 49%? I mean, that's kind of a big window there.
Yeah, and I'm on a site called Medical News Today, and it says that 50% of women.
Okay, so anecdotally, you said Jen could do it. How many other people on your resume ever did it?
One other person, and she didn't even need penetration from it. Like just from me giving her oral, she would do it, which was kind of a problem.
Seems fun, yeah.
No, it was not fun because
you have windshield wipers on your glasses.
No, but it was going into my mouth though. So
nice.
Well, listen here, dude. As I researched this,
and she was not Jennifer Lawrence, so I did not want her peeing on my face.
Okay.
As I researched
that,
this,
yes.
there's a question about, there's a big debate going on. And if you read on medical websites, as Brewski is, you'll find out more clearer answer. There's research and a debate going on whether or not when a girl squirts, if it's urine in any way. All right, that if there's urine in there. Or
well, it comes from the urethra. It is, yeah.
That's up for debate, Brewski.
Okay, sure.
You don't know this, Steve, or you do?
I don't know where we're going with any of this.
Yeah.
This is, I try to be able to cite sources for the assertions we're making here. I always thought that squirting was just some sort of vaginal fluid, so now it could actually just be urine.
It's a mixture. It's a mixture of.
I don't want to know any of this, all right? But thank you for putting it all in my brain. I'll do some research. I'll find out if it's a phenomenon or not.
All right.
You know what is a phenomenon that's been going on for years?
Yeah.
Cock blocking.
Yeah.
Yep.
You experiencing an uptick in that? Or what?
Well, recently, yeah. Actually, I have. But
Who?
yeah, it's
Not one of us.
No, not you guys.
Okay.
Other folks in my life. Although I did once get cock blocked by my ex at a bar, which is kind of funny.
I was just telling Nick the other day that my son is cock blocking me.
Ah,
He's putting all these parameters on who I can date next. I'm just like,
what the
dude,
fuck's that all about?
stay out of my way, man. He's a kid with his own concerns. He came to me the other day and he's like, the next woman you date, could she maybe not have kids? And I'm just like, what? Wait, what? Like that's a big topic you've just brought up there. He's like, I'm concerned that you're going to date a woman who's got a 13-year-old son, and I'm not going to like him. And so, could you just not date a woman that has kids?
Yeah, but she also might have a 13-year-old daughter he might like.
Right.
There you go.
I told him there's too many possibilities. Some women have no kids, okay? Some have kids that are younger or older, the same age. You may have a kid that's 13 that you love. You may have one you hate. Like, I can't be putting parameters like that on it. But I'll let you know, bud. I'll do my best. And by the way, I don't know if I want a woman without kids. That blew up in my freaking face last time, so I don't know.
Yeah, but the whole blended family thing, it gets to be a pain in the ass sometimes.
No, listen, the first woman I dated out of my divorce had 4 kids, and I have 2 kids, so fucking Brady
4
Bunch all of a
kids?
sudden. Yeah.
Jeez.
So that would be 6 kids amongst us. It's literally a lovely story about
Although
a man
that's
in
not-
a harness.
Well,
There was nothing lovely about it, dude.
And by the way, my shrink told me at that time, like, she's got 4 kids, don't date her. I'm just like, wait, seriously? That's your therapeutic advice? Was 3 kids okay? Like, I'm supposed to hold this woman's past against her?
Well-
Children against her?
well, there was a chick on Tinder that was chatting with me, and she didn't put this in her profile. She forgot to. She was 45, and she had 7 kids.
Oof. Yeah.
And 3 of which were under the age of 10.
Squirting going on there, I bet.
Holy jeez. I'm like, 7 kids. Like, what the I mean, come
Was she
on.
Catholic?
Really?
I assume.
No, not nothing like that at all. It's
Just never heard of telling the guy to pull out or wear a condom, huh?
yeah, and her oldest kid was like 20 or 21.
Jeez. Well, and that's the other thing. I'm at a stage where some women have kids that are adults now, and that's totally fine with me. So
Yeah.
I don't freaking know, but anyway. All right, well, we've all got homework to do, so go ahead and let me know how all that turns out.
Crosby cockblocking. That's awesome.
Right. All right. Hey, social media stuff. We're on all of them: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and one other one I'm forgetting now. Grinder, of course. So check us all out on there. Grinder, did it just go public the other day? Like, holy crap! I wish I bought stock in that thing. They were showing the original investors that just made billions now off Grinder going public. So.
Oh, wow, good for them.
But my point is a couple of things going on in the social media world. First of all, gentlemen, we did set a new record this week for the most views ever of one of our single videos. We surpassed 10,000 views.
Congratulations.
Yes. Part of Facebook exploding on us all of a sudden out of nowhere. Several videos are 3,000 and 4,000 now. And again, I know in the grand scheme of the interwebs, that's still small, but we're brand new and we're growing these pages. So 10,000 views, 10,000 people watched it and apparently weren't disgusted and watched it all. So that's cool. So thank you for that. I will tell you, let me check on it right now because I just posted something on YouTube that seems to be, taking off. 2 videos, actually. This whole social media trend thing, it's like, I can post something on a Saturday, and I can just tell the world is not online at that moment because these things just sit there. But then you get to a certain point in the day, or you get into a Monday like this, and all of a sudden things start taking off. So I posted a clip about Dave Chappelle not being canceled. I was saying that if you're canceled, cancel us. If you're hosting SNL and doing sold-out shows and $17 million on Netflix. And I posted that like an hour and some change ago. We just passed 1,000 views on the YouTube page. And we're getting comments, too. So that's cool.
Yeah, I wonder if it has anything to do with yesterday we were talking about you and I personally in life on the phone. We're talking about Trump, and you were posting some clips about Trump. Like, yes. You think there's any thing to the whole Chappelle was just on SNL? Yeah. A lot of people are YouTubing it, that type of thing, and we're coming up.
I think there's a lot to that, yes. I'm trying to get my PhD in social media growth and how to do all this shit right for us. And, there's basically two things. One, you got to be interesting, topical, entertaining, and all that. That's the hardest thing for most people to do. That's what we do naturally since we've been doing this for 20-whatever years. But then the other thing is trends. What's current? What are people talking about? So Chappelle, Kanye West, Donald Trump, all of these things that are current.
Squirting.
Yeah, squirting. I'm sure that'll be a big trend after today's show. So I'm trying to post stuff we're talking about naturally, but then also post stuff that's trending, like Chappelle. So yeah, I'm assuming that's what most of these people are finding it from the tags, and
nice.
People are commenting and whatnot. So that's good. So get in on it, audience. Find us on the socials. Throw your 2 cents in there.
Yeah,
you can find them all on our webpage. You go to thevocalminority.net, where we post a podcast.
Yep. So find all that. We've got another listener in San Francisco this week. That's nice. Chicago came on the map this week. I thought that was kind of cool.
Chicago, you're on the air.
That's right. And Newark, New Jersey. And they came on just in time for us to be discussing The Sopranos on a previous episode. So that's good, too.
Very nice. We welcomed them to the show with some very topical advice in their area.
Indeed. And speaking of social media, should we discuss Twitter? Is that thing imploding? Is it not? What the fuck is going on with Elon Musk?
It's going to take a while, dude. Up and down. Some of the stuff that I'm seeing, I'm wondering, is this real? Is this fake? Did you guys see that when he was firing people that he put together certain videos of like Donald Trump firing them? Did you see that?
It's interesting that you brought that up. Is that a real story?
I couldn't find out. I searched on it, and it just kept coming up like it was a real story, but I didn't see anything that was fake.
So here's the thing. I saw that this week, and I saw a video of him saying it, that he wanted to fire, quote, whiny liberals at Twitter. So he made this app that basically had Donald Trump's voice saying, hey, Brewski, you've been fired. Hey, Nick, you've been fired. Like he customized it for each person, each whiny liberal he was firing. I was trying to find an actual news article on it, though, and I can't. So I'm trying to figure out, is that a real story, or am I falling for some TikTok bullshit?
Brewski?
I can take a look for you. Yeah, for sure.
Give it a go. I just Googled it, and I tried every keyword, and I could not find a legitimate news article that cited it.
I couldn't find it either, but I saw multiple videos of him firing different people, and there was someone else. Most of them were Trump, but there was another person that he had on there, and he asked, I read the same thing, Steve, that he asked somebody on his team to create this app, and the guy created the app, and he mailed it out to everybody he was firing.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if that's real or not. It's weird that he is on video talking about it. Maybe he was just joking and it didn't really happen, but I did see verified news articles that he had tweeted, firing a few people.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, being a business owner for these last 5,000 years, it feels like firing people is the worst thing you have to do. And I have fired people that absolutely have deserved it. One woman in particular that just fucking hated my guts, and when I became the general manager, she tried to call the corporate office and go over my head, and so I fired her with the full blessing of the corporate office. But even firing her, I felt terrible about it, because you're affecting somebody's life. It's their income, it's their standing in the community, all that kind of stuff. But I'm seeing Elon Musk just revel in it, and that shows me what a fucking douchebag tool you are. It's one thing to have to fire people. You should not be taking glee in it.
Some people have an easier time at firing people because I've fired a few people in my day from different jobs I've worked at, and I hate it.
Because you have a soul.
I think also he comes from a background where he never had to work, never actually had to have work, never had a job.
Yeah.
So he doesn't understand what it means to
worry about your next paycheck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Never
to
had
him,
money issues, and isn't he isn't he somewhat autistic?
I didn't know that.
Well, even if he is on the spectrum, you'd still be able to figure something out.
Well, he's got to be highly functional if he's on the spectrum at all. But I've never.
100%. But
you're throwing out a lot of just random assertions today, Nick.
Don't give him any excuses either.
Yeah, right.
All right. I'm gonna
Google
quiet.
that.
You
Find
guys
out.
carry on.
I'm looking right now.
You guys carry on. I'll be in the background.
I'm just saying, we're going to Fox News today. We're just throwing out these random assertions.
I asked a question, Steve.
Okay,
you fucking asshole. I asked,
okay,
is he
Whoa,
on the spectrum?
Hold on, I got it.
Isn't he a serial killer?
No. Why do you beat your wife? Anyway, here's
things. I hear it. A lot of people saying it.
Here is a story from Axios from April 15th, 2022 that says Elon Musk talks about growing up with Asperger's.
Thank you, dude.
Okay.
He talked about it when he hosted Saturday Night Live, too, that there was going to be possible issues about him hosting Saturday Night Live because he doesn't react the same way due to his Asperger's.
Yeah.
That he doesn't, okay, that's all I know. All right.
I missed him hosting SNL. When was that?
He hosted SNL sometime over the pandemic, and I thought it was going to be a fucking disaster, and it wasn't completely a disaster. It was kind of a good episode, but there was a lot of talk going into it that he's very socially awkward and has some of the characteristics that some folks on the spectrum carry, of not being able to have the same emotions as somebody who's not on the spectrum.
I've never seen any clips of that circulated. You see a lot of SNL skits circulate. I've never seen one with Musk. I'll have to go look that up.
Well,
look it up and try and verify that I'm giving you correct information. Dude.
I'll pee on his face. I'll tell you that much.
Well, so speaking of Asperger's, a while back I was in a Reddit forum and somebody was talking about their brother who had Asperger's, except he spelled it Asburgers.
Yeah, I saw a porn called Asperger's once.
Asperger's. And I'm sorry, but as soon as I saw that, I absolutely lost it. I was drinking a Coke at the time, so instead of coming out of my nose, it was awful. Nice. But it was funny as hell. Asperger's. Now I can't even say that word without not saying it with the emphasis on the burgers part,
Yeah. That's what they serve at Chick-fil-A, isn't it?
Asperger's.
Well, I don't know. Everyone's hypothesizing that Twitter is going to implode, and I don't know. I don't know what it takes for a social network to implode on the technical side. I've always found social media to be a risky business because, Facebook, biggest in the world, right? 1 billion people. But if we all just decide to burn our Facebook accounts, now they're worth nothing. Whereas, I'm not just going to go burn my Toyota or something. I already own it, but Facebook, we can all just leave social media in the drop of a hat. So
but they have so much data on us, though, that they could still sell that data.
It's going to run out, though. I mean, truly, if 700 million of us left Facebook today, they'd be fucked. So what does it take to implode Twitter? I know they're saying a lot of the technical people are gone, so if they were to get hacked or whatever, they wouldn't be able to defend against it. But.
And someone's out there to feed the hamsters on the wheel to keep everything running.
But I'm on Twitter right now for the vocal minority, and people seem to be there still. So
I'm on there as Brewski VM, tweeting out to everybody that we possibly can antagonize.
Speaking of Twitter, your son followed us today, Brewski.
Oh.
Yes, he has tracked us down. What's your son's first name? It's Brendan, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so that's him. I could tell from his bio, Golden Gophers. So
Yep, that's him.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, the whole Twitter thing is interesting, and I've been trying to jump on some of the trends just to get our own leverage, but I feel a little dirty now when I go on there. Like, I used to think of Elon Musk as like being Tony Stark, like this rich guy that wants to, take technology to the next level, but I'm starting to see he's a real fucking douchebag. Not only taking glee in firing people, but, letting Donald Trump back on Twitter recently.
Oh, did you see who he let back on today?
He's let a whole
couple
bunch.
days
I mean,
ago.
Trump made the headline, but yeah, who else? Because there's a whole bunch of dirtbags that he just let back on.
Oh, yeah. Kanye West.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. Yep. And I promptly tweeted him, and it said "fuck ye."
Uh-huh. I saw that ye, whatever the fuck we're calling him. He tweeted shalom, and then Elon Musk liked it because that's funny. Ha ha ha. Because Kanye hates Jews, so let's all jump on board. I just can't believe how irresponsible Musk is being, owning this company where he's on the platform, spewing Nazi memes and misinformation, conspiracy theories.
Most of the money that bought it isn't even his money. It's mostly Saudi money, actually. The Saudi family is the number two holder in Twitter.
Wow. Who got that $44 billion, by the way? Like, he bought the company. So who there's not $44 billion waiting for him in that account. Like, did Jack Dorsey and all the original people, they just all cashed out on that $44 billion?
Yep.
Damn. We gotta start something, some fucking app.
It's a lot of money, dude.
Maybe we should start a squirting app because I hear that's a big phenomenon nowadays.
How about an Asperger's app?
Right? Squirting Asperger's. That can be our
Oh, yeah!
Yes. Nick, what do you think?
So I think it's a winner, dude. I think it'll be taken off.
I'm capitalizing on your assertions. So.
Yeah.
If we create an app, it truly will become a phenomenon. So.
Yeah.
It's self-fulfilling prophecy. That's what I'm going for.
Perfect.
So, I don't know. And yeah, Trump back on Twitter, although he's not actually back on Twitter because he started his own shitty social media platform that he's sticking with.
Saw so many people, dude, when Trump got kicked off Twitter, all the conservatives that I somehow have in my Facebook friends of just like my old neighbor is a big one that we've gotten into arguments and everything else, but she was one of these first people who was like, I'm off Facebook. This is my farewell to y'all. If we're not going to have free speech in this country where everyone's allowed, blah, 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 I am quitting the app and I'm moving over to whatever the fuck he came up with.
Yeah. True. Ironically.
And they're all back, dude. They're all back. It's a shitty platform that he created, and there's no social networking on there like any of the big players, and they're all back.
Don't you have to pay to be on that app, too?
I don't think so. That'd be weird.
I thought they were paying.
Where'd you get that information, Brewski?
Brewski, don't throw
I'll look it up.
We're giving out a lot of information that could be
I thought that's what I saw, that it was going to be a pay app.
You go Google that.
I'm looking it up right now.
But it kind of goes to what I was saying earlier. Like, everyone's on Facebook, which is why Facebook's a thing. If everyone left, it wouldn't be a thing. But because everyone's on there, if just one of you leave, then you're, what is that doing? Now you're just on some shitty app by yourself, so now you want to go back to Facebook. So it's a catch-22. If we all just said, screw it, we're all going to whatever the newest app is, then that would become the biggest. But I don't know. Social media is as good as its reputation, and Twitter right now is going down the tubes, so maybe it will implode. I don't know.
I hope it fails, dude. Elon Musk, whatever you think of him, he's got an agenda, as most people do, and I'm not on board with it.
So it is not pay, but I will say it
just cost you your soul to go on Trump's.
Well, but then they could use the money though, because as of April they owed $1.6 million in unpaid hosting fees. So
wow.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard investors are fleeing it like, rats off a sinking ship and all that. It's only Trump's idiots over there.
He hired David Nunes to run it. I mean, how good could it actually be? He sued a Twitter handle called Devin Nunes' cow and lost in court.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nope,
it's not like you're talking about a Menson running the show over there.
By no means, that is for sure. So, and speaking of Trump, so he officially announced since the last show that he's running for president again. My mom is just freaking out about it. She's just, her heart's going pitter-patter. I told her you don't need to worry about
excited?
No. She fears what would happen if Trump won again. She does not want to watch the electoral process. She doesn't want to go through the nightmare that we all went through in 2016 and again in 2020, and now we're going to do it again in 2020. No, she's freaking out about it.
I don't blame her, dude. Yeah, I have worries and concerns. Hopefully, I think this time around, well, we've all said this before. I didn't think he would do anything. I didn't think there was any way he'd ever be our president. I thought he was having fun and people were laughing and giggling and talking about him, but he became our president. So I can't make any.
Listen, I did the same thing in 2016. I'm like, there's no way in hell that this, reality show failed businessman is going to win. And obviously he did. But I truly think that he's lost whatever magic he once had. I mean, first of all, traditionally in politics, when you lose the White House, you're done. You lost the biggest national election there is. We're not going to put you back out there again. It's like when the milk goes bad, you don't put it back in the fridge and hope it's unsoured in 2 weeks or something. Like, once it's soured, it's soured. But Republicans seem, prior to the midterms, willing to, ride that train again. But as we've been talking about, I truly think his magic has been revealed to be a bunch of bullshit. And there's a pending Republican civil war coming where they're all going to feud with each other. And I pray he runs as a third party, but I just cannot see a scenario where somebody as toxic as him could possibly win a national election.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. I mean, the only thing I think he's really got on his side is that he's created the illusion that, the time that he lost, was he wouldn't have lost if we didn't cheat, right? And there's people that are holding on to that.
Yes. I created the illusion I have a 12-inch cock. It doesn't mean I do.
Well, can we?
That's yet to be seen, Steve. Whip her out.
People are saying.
We have another person that's thrown their hat into the 2024 presidential election, by the way.
Yeah, who?
I mean, Mr. Rupert.
Mr. Kanye West.
Oh, please.
No, he is
not.
Dude, I'm looking at the story today, 4 hours ago. It says
he actually file and announce, and he's like
Kanye West confirms presidential run and lists Milo Yiannopoulos for his 2024 campaign. Yes, it's simple. It's just that we're moving toward the future, he said when asked if he's running for president.
It's yay.
Boom. Whatever.
The man could be our next president. Get his name correct. Didn't he do this in 2022, though? In 2020 as well, not 2022.
Well, of course. And I mean, I don't take it seriously, but nonetheless, it's just kind of another person in that circus.
Fill that roster up with fucking kooks, dude. That's fine by me.
I would rather vote for Kim Kardashian than Ye, whatever the fuck his name is, but
Yay, dude.
But again, anyone who's going to spoil on that side of the aisle, I'm all for. So yes, stay for president. Have at it, you morons. So we shall see.
Be interesting to see what happens now that he's. Well, have we even seen anything that he's posted on Twitter? It hasn't made the news.
No, he has not yet. He announced that he is not going to.
You gave me my toy back. I'm not going to play with it.
Well,
why is he not going to do it?
Because it would compete with his own social media website that, as we just discussed, is failing and needs investors. So if he just jumps to Twitter, everyone's going to leave his thing and go with him over there. And by everyone, I mean his idiot cronies, not actually the masses. So now, will Trump actually stick to that, though? I think he wants back on Twitter so badly that he'd be willing to shoot his own company in the foot.
He's got the shakes of just wanting to tweet. You know he does.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So we shall see. But yeah, I posted some Trump stuff Saturday night when that got announced, and I got some traction based on it. So I don't know. Who knows?
What do we think? Is Ron DeSantis going to run?
Yes.
And have you seen Trump going back and forth with him? I mean, he really laid into Ron DeSantis, gave him the whole "I fucking made you" speech,
And he may have done that, actually. But now it's, careful what you create kind of thing. I saw a quote from DeSantis in the last day or two where he said that his supporters would walk on broken glass for him. Here's the thing. Trump may have created you, but you're not Trump. Like, Trump had this whole celebrity thing behind him as to why he could shoot somebody in Fifth Avenue and he wouldn't lose any voters. I don't know that DeSantis or any other Republican has that same Teflon thing that Donald Trump has, where they can, just count on these devout followers to vote for him.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone does, dude. I mean, that was an anomaly, right? I mean,
God, let's hope so. Yeah. I still have never understood how people look the other way with so many things for Trump. But I think some of these other Trump clones like DeSantis, I don't think they'll be as easy to slide through whatever their next controversy or legal hangups are. So
right.
I don't know. I hope it's a careful what you wish for thing. Like, let DeSantis run and crazy things will come out about him and will actually stick to him, unlike Trump. But yeah, he's definitely going to run for sure. He told me.
We'll see what happens. I mean, yeah, that's gonna shoot. You think he'll run as a third party, but I mean, it's gonna shoot Trump in the foot one way or another. It's gonna shoot both of them in the foot.
Trump may run as a third party, yeah, not DeSantis.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean.
Yeah, Trump's such an egomaniac that if he loses the primaries for the GOP side of things, yeah, I think he'll run as a third party, absolutely. But the question still is, will he lose the primaries? I actually think there's enough yahoos in the GOP world that they may actually vote him in. In which case, let the fireworks begin. It's just you're putting up a candidate that's not going to win. So,
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see how well these predictions hold up over the next very long 2 years to come.
Yeah.
Think about that. We got 2 freaking years until the next presidential election. Good gravy. What's going to happen in these years? And will Trump end up in jail? I'm assuming he will.
You are assuming he will?
I assume he will either end up in jail or at least be convicted of something that carries the offense that you can no longer run for national office. Yes, I do feel that way.
I hope he gets a felony, dude.
Well, I mean, we found out this week, special counsel appointed because he's got multiple things going on that we need somebody to oversee. Specifically the January 6th riots and the stealing documents bullshit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, come on. We have literally, I've seen multiple news stories about this, about other government employees just recently being prosecuted for essentially taking government documents home with you. So there's a current standard. He has to at least be convicted of the same thing some of these other people have. And they did way less. They had like some random document or two, as opposed to Trump with boxes and boxes of documents. So
it's
got to be fine for that.
It's all going to depend on whether or not he's still Teflon Trump, dude. And hopefully he's not.
Yeah. Well, I even saw some evangelicals, some of the big leaders in that community the other day saying, like, nope, we're done with him. And,
he used us. Come on.
Yeah.
You knew what he was.
Well, and a bunch of GOP donors all came out saying, like, nope, he's not getting one nickel out of us. So, these things do have to catch up with somebody.
Well, the money part is what's really going to catch up with him, because he doesn't like to use his own money. He always wants somebody else's money to waste. So,
of course, he never puts any of his money. I mean, hardly any. I mean, he's sitting on $100 million right now.
Well,
he just raises money.
Well, that technically is for a PAC, and with PACs, the money is different because
but he could have spent it on some of the GOP primaries or the midterms.
Oh yeah,
this went on,
no, he
could.
He's
a selfish prick. So.
Well, yeah, he's Scrooge McDuck. Mine, mine, mine.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And by the way, swimming in a vault of coins, I think that would hurt. I don't think you could just swim.
Yeah, it would, wouldn't it?
Just a quick side note. I don't think that was scientifically accurate. So, yeah, I've got an article here. Evangelical figures who previously supported Trump are backing off now that he's announced a third bid for the presidency. Donald Trump cannot save America, Mike Evans told the Washington Post. He can't even save himself. Evans was part of a group of evangelicals who met with Trump at the White House at one point and gave him an award where they all rallied around him at the Oval Office there at the desk. He used us to win the White House. We had to close our mouths and eyes when he said things that horrified us. I cannot do it anymore. The Republican Party is headed towards a civil war that I have no desire or need to be part of. So, echoing what I was saying.
Yeah.
And I think for people like us, that's going to be highly entertaining to sit back and watch.
Oh, yeah.
And plenty of material for comedians and podcast hosts and everything else. So, we'll see.
It's going to be like the good old days, like we used to do with W.
Yeah. No, for sure. That was the other, about W. At least bad presidents are good for comedy. So,
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I don't think he's winning. So, we'll see.
Hey, dude, I'd give my right nut and my left nut to go back to days of W.
Yeah, and isn't that a sad statement? I've said that before.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. Back in the W days, I mean, I thought he was we couldn't possibly do any worse than that guy. Hold my beer, said Trump. So we'll see. Speaking of the decaying state of our country, the latest public shooting. Let's talk about it a little bit, but then, I don't know, I have a larger commentary on public shootings. But, Brewski, what were you telling me about this latest one? And recap it, I guess, because it's hard to keep up. This is part of my problem with public shootings. I turn on the news on any given day, and there's some press conference going on, and I'm like, which one is this? Because it's usually, someone got shot in Dallas, but now there's a press conference in Atlanta because now there's one there. Now, I can't keep up with them. So what was the latest?
So there was a shooting in Colorado Springs, Colorado, where it says that 5 people were killed and I believe 18 injured, and it was at a gay club called Club Q.
Right.
So 5 people killed 5 people, wounding 17 others at a Colorado Springs LGBTQ club.
Yeah.
And his name is...
Did a good guy with a gun stop it? How'd they stop this one?
No, it was stopped by a military veteran and a drag queen who stomped him with her heels.
Nice.
Yes. Yep.
So it doesn't take a good guy with a gun. It can take a good guy, girl, or anything in between.
Yeah.
And just a good set of
nightmare,
heels.
dude.
You don't need a gun.
And do we want to know the name of this shitbag that committed this heinous act?
No. I
Okay.
say we do what the rest of the media has wisely started doing. And I don't know if everyone's picked up on this. Have you noticed they don't announce the name of these shooters anymore?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
It's become an unspoken rule.
Yeah,
of the world of
thankfully,
media.
I think that's
What? What's
Hey,
this
dude,
happening?
can people hear me on this podcast?
I can hear you. What is going on?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
There's a huge delay happening here where I'll say something and you don't react to it for 6 or 7 seconds.
I'm a little stoned. I don't know if that. I'm kidding. No, I don't. I'm not picking up on that. Now I see you talking and I don't see your mouth moving, or I see you talking but I don't hear it. Are you just fucking with us? Because this is highly unentertaining for the
No,
podcast.
I'm not,
people listening
dude.
silent.
I don't know what's going on. I'm not fucking with you.
Well, I'm hearing you right now in real time. So you're saying
All right.
it's kicking in and out?
Must be.
You just keep talking. We're hearing you fine.
All right.
Yeah.
It's all these squirting porn sites you're surfing on your computer. It's slowing
Must
you
be.
down.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. So the latest public shooting, and a drag queen and a military guy. They got the weapon from him because I heard also that they at one point it hit him with his own weapon, which is some bravery, by the way, to run up to the active shooter and take him down. So kudos.
Yes.
Apparently the cops in Uvalde could learn something from the drag queen in Denver,
Yeah, exactly.
Colorado Springs. You know.
Can I share one other thing here? It says Colorado nightclub shooter suspect's grandfather identified as MAGA Republican lawmaker who celebrated January 6th Capitol riots.
Wow. Shocking to me. You know, I've had a lot of people ask me how Trump was never assassinated, and I have a theory. It's because liberals don't go and assassinate people. I mean, certainly not very commonly. But am I surprised to hear that this latest public shooter, like so many of the others, are right-wing nut jobs?
No, dude. That's how it happens. We didn't make this up, dude. We didn't make this up that this is a conservative value, that you think your guns are so fucking important. You talk about mental health. I mean, this has to do with 2 things, right? The gun laws and mental health. And you guys want to pump up the guns and never vote for mental health. You don't see that it's not working, you fucking assholes.
Yeah. And disingenuously, they often try to blame just one of those things. It's just mental health. It's not the guns. It's obviously the cocktail of both of them that make it accessible and make it a thing here in America. But I have become so numb to it. You know, when I see public shootings nowadays on the news, it's just, I don't care because no one seems to care. We don't do anything about it. We take no real steps to stop any of it. So when am I supposed to be shocked anymore?
You're not. I mean, well, let me rephrase that. You are, but it's easy that it's happening so often now that it is just kind of like, oh, another one. Where was this? You know,
Yes.
I was having a conversation with my brother a few months back and I was like, excuse me, these fucking shootings are off the chain. We just had one in Washington last week, a school shooting. And luckily it ended up okay, but I mean, it didn't make the biggest news, but like.
And how sad is that, by the way? You got to have enough body count to make the news anymore.
Completely, dude. And things are still unfolding with the Uvalde and everything that fucking was dropped in that whole thing. But it's happening on so many levels, in so many different places that people are just becoming numb to it. And I think that's fucking dangerous. But I had the conversation with my brother. I'm like, these are happening all the time. And he said, are they really? I was like, oh, no, don't you dare. He was like, I'm not saying they didn't happen. I'm saying that now we live in this age of social media where all these shootings happening long ago and they're just being reported now. I was like, fuck, no, they weren't, dude.
No.
Are you kidding me? You have children in school. You have children in school currently.
Please. I mean, we've all watched them evolve over the years, starting basically back with Columbine, I guess was the first biggest one. But yes, it's become sort of, it's the new suicide, if you ask me. You know, there's this whole group of kids and nut jobs that instead of just offing themselves, they want to go out in a blaze of glory. So they go out and do these, public shootings. And but no, brother, it's become a phenomenon that is not a good thing and happening way too much. And yes, my kids go through shooter drills at their school. That never used to be a thing. And it's just depressing. But again, it happens so often. Like I'm at a point of how am I supposed to keep reacting to this?
Kim Kardashian, speaking of Kardashian, Brucey's favorite, she hired security for the school that her kids go to. It's just paying it out of her pocket because she's like, fuck this. This is crazy, dude.
Yeah, and she's taking a lot of shots.
Sit at home and worry about this every day. What'd you say?
I said she's taken a lot of shots, so she's an expert on the topic. But no, you do have to worry about it. It disgusts me. My kids have these drills all the time. One of them, my firstborn was, she was in the hallway when the drill went off, and part of these drills is you have to lock the classroom door. So she got locked out of her classroom and was out there banging on the door like, let me in. And, they couldn't. It's against the rules.
Real fear, or did they know it was a drill?
She didn't know if it was a drill or not. She just knew the alarm was going off, and they said, shooting,
Did they have a fear or panic in them, like an actual fear or panic?
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow,
that's haunts them to this day. And, I don't know if I've told the story on this show before, but I had a shooting in my high school, but it was a teacher that showed up with a gun and started shooting people.
Really? In high school?
Yeah. Anytime somebody tells me, arm the teachers, that's the way to stop it. Well, what happens when the teacher goes nuts? Or what happens when you overpower the teacher and take their gun? It's not a good idea. And yeah, I almost got killed that day. It was fucked up.
Let's hear more about this, Steve. Why do you have PTSD? Is that why you've never talked about it?
I've never told you the story even off air before.
No.
Oh wow. I wrote a whole article about it for Lefty Liberal. I'll send it to you. But no, I mean here's the basic story. It was my senior year of high school. It was the week before Christmas break, 1993. And the weird part of the story for me was I had been sick or playing sick or whatever it was one day, and I missed an economics test. And so I came back to school the next day, and I went around asking all my friends, like, what was on the economics test? Because I got to stay after school and take it. So everyone kind of told me what was on it. So my economics teacher told me to go to the main administration building after school, take your test. When you're done, put it in my mailbox. I'll grade it the next day kind of thing. And when I was in the administration building, I noticed one of our science teachers, Stephen Leith, Mr. Leith, who was this former hippie dude, like long ponytail, the John Lennon glasses. He always wore Converse every day. Like he was a fan.
Smelled like patchouli.
Yeah, he was a fan favorite amongst the students because he was this cool old hippie teacher, right, and teaching science nowadays. And he went into the superintendent's office along with the principal and the head of the teachers union, Mr. Jones, who was one of the English teachers. Mr. Piasecki was the superintendent. He was my next-door neighbor. And Mr. Mead was the principal. He was also one of my next-door neighbors. So I see all four of these guys go into the superintendent's office. I keep doing my test. And about 20 minutes later, Mr. Leith came storming out of that office and walked straight out of the administration building. And I remember thinking it was kind of odd that, he seemed pissed off and, stormed out of the building. I took another 5 or 10 minutes to finish that test, and it should have taken me much longer, but I knew what was on the test, so I was able to breeze through this. So I turned in the test and I left. About 2 minutes after I left, Mr. Leith had driven home, gotten his handgun, and came back, and he shot Mr. Piasecki, Mr. Mead, and Mr. Jones. He killed Mr. Piasecki, my next-door neighbor. And
I'm looking at the news story right now. Yeah, I did.
I'm citing all the right names and dates and everything, aren't I?
Yes, you are. Yeah, December 16th, 1993. Mr. Piasecki. Yes, I am reading all of it right now. You said this.
Joseph Piasecki. Steve. You're welcome. His daughter was in my grade. His son was a grade older than me, and he died that day. Mr. Mead and Mr. Jones were both critically shot, but thanks to rushing him off to a hospital, they were able to save him, which is something I always cite about assault weapons versus handguns. You know, an AR-15, when you get a bullet hole, it destroys you. Yeah. And so there's almost no medical attention that will save your life. And I learned this from my dad, who is an emergency room doctor. He said that if you get shot with a handgun or a regular rifle, and if you can get to the doctor quick enough, it's a very clean hole. They can probably save you. But an AR-15, for example, just bores out a hole. It's meant to make people bleed out on the battlefield before medical attention.
It bounces around inside you, dude. It tears you up.
So this was a good articulation of, handguns aren't good per se, but, odds are good. You can probably survive it if you're shot. So, yeah, the two teachers lived. They were horribly, debilitated for a while, and lots of recovery and surgeries. But yeah, Mr. Piasecki died that day, and Mr. Leith, went on trial. He tried to claim Prozac, made him temporarily insane and all this stuff. And
what did he say? I mean, why did he do it? Did he get pissed off at these three individuals?
Students accused him of doing something sexually inappropriate, and we have never really found out if that was true or not, because
inappropriate comments to as a female student, it says.
Yeah, and he was never investigated for it because he was put on trial for murder. So he eventually was found guilty and is spending the rest of his life in jail. And his wife, Mrs. Leith, Alice, she was a teacher at the school as well, and she became a bit of a pariah, having her husband, shooting at the school.
Sure.
She ended up getting cancer.
Had you left the property?
No. I was probably pulling out of the parking lot as this was happening, because I got home like 10 minutes later and my phone started ringing at the house, like landline on the kitchen wall thing. And it was my sister saying, they're saying there was a shooting at the high school. Like, what's going on? I was like, I was just there. Like, there was no shooting at the high school. But in hindsight, that is what happened. I left. He came back in the building. He shot everyone. And it would have been, at a minimum, I would have watched it all happen. It would have happened right there in front of me. And would he have shot me? I have no idea. That's the big thing that's always haunted me. Would he have shot a student or not? I don't know.
Would you have tackled him, dude? Maybe you would have done something. Maybe you would have reacted. Who knows?
Great question. It's one of those you can hypothesize what you may have done in that situation, but
sure,
I would imagine I would have ducked under a desk. But who knows, man? Who knows if he would have shot me or if I would have witnessed the whole thing? I would have. And here's the other funny thing, quote unquote. The next day was the last day before Christmas break, and they wanted all the students to come back to school. When I showed up to school, there was news media all over the front lawn of our high school, like a spectacle you see in movies, all the news trucks and reporters trying to talk to students. And they had called in dozens of grief counselors. So each classroom had a grief counselor, and that's why they wanted all the students to come back. And my economics teacher knew that I was in the administration building because it was his test that I was staying to take.
Right.
He found me that morning and he pulled me aside. He was just like, oh my gosh, I've been worried about you all night long. Like, what happened? What did you see? And I told him my side of the story. And I asked him, I said, should I go to the police and tell him I was there, that I saw everyone go into the building together and I saw him storm out of the building? And he looked at me dead serious and he said, don't ever tell anyone. Like, you're going to end up testifying in trial. You're going to have to do police reports. Like, you didn't see the actual shooting. So I would go home and talk to your parents about this, but my advice would be just pretend you were not there. And that's exactly what I did.
Did this fuck you up mentally for a while?
When it happened at the time, it was a huge deal to everyone in that community, but I don't recall being super rattled. But as life has gone on, and as I think back about that day and what could have happened, whether I witnessed it or was shot myself, like, it stuck with me. And it's formed a lot of my opinions about handguns versus rifles and about Army teachers and all that kind of stuff. So,
how many people were in that school, dude? How big was your school?
My class was 100-something people. So the whole school.
You knew everybody.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, we all grew up together. It was a small town community. I mean, very few people moved away or moved into the town. So the whole school was probably 500 people. And yeah, everyone knew everyone. And yeah, his wife ended up getting cancer and dying.
Yep, she died 2 years to the day of the shootings.
Brewski?
I think the Brewski's fact checking me, and then I'm getting this all right.
No. I'm just happening.
We obviously need it on this program.
Apparently, no, Brewski. I like that you're confirming it. Like my memory's holding up. And I'll tell you a really sad story. You know, I delivered for Cottage Inn Pizza back in those days, and Alice Leith, she got some form of cancer, and it aged her. The chemotherapy and all that stuff just aged her rapidly. Like she had gray hair, she put on all this weight and had jowls. And I delivered a pizza to her house one day. And we did the whole interaction, you know, here's your pizza, it's whatever it cost. And as I'm walking away, she says, Steve, like, do you not want to talk to me because of what my husband did? And I turned around, I was like, Mrs. Leith, like, I didn't even know that was you. Like, I'm sorry. Like, she went off the deep end just physically from this cancer she had. And I would have to think that the stress of what she went through had something to do with that, you know, cancer kicking in like it did. Yeah, she just withered away and passed away. So, and she was one of my favorites. They both were favorite teachers in the school.
I don't want to say this is a fact, but I have been told this by doctors is that if you hold on to stress inside of you and pain and stress inside of you, that it can create cancer, or, you know, it can take your immune system down far enough that your cancer can take over your body.
I think that's what it primarily is. Your immune system just takes a shit, and things can then sneak in on you. So. Yeah, screwed up story. And Brewski, I bet the article you're looking at is a scan or something, right? Because this was pre-internet.
No, actually, this is an article from Miss M Live, actually, and it's
okay. They must have written it over, because when I searched this on the internet years ago, I could only find basically a photocopy of a news story.
Yeah, it was updated April 11th, 2013, and then I thought you might find it interesting.
Yeah.
What Mr. Leith is doing in prison right now.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, it says, get ready to roll your eyes.
Oh, boy. Is he a Trump supporter?
Most days he rises at 5:30 a.m., showers, meditates, and prays until breakfast at 7. He walks in the prison yard and then tutors other inmates from 1 to 4 p.m. He writes Christian songs, plays guitar and piano, and leads music during Sunday services. Give me a fucking break.
Right.
It's wonderful.
Okay. I can't imagine that guy was religious back in the day, because he was such a liberal hippie. So that's, probably the result of prison life and years of guilt and all that.
Well, and you asked about arming teachers?
Yeah.
Well, they asked him about arming teachers.
Yeah.
And this is a direct quote from him. It says, "You're asking me to think about things I've never thought about before. I guess I'm a little hesitant unless those persons are trained in using a firearm and deciding wisely when to use it."
Yeah.
End quote.
Well, think about this. If he only had to walk to his classroom to get a gun, I definitely would have been there for it. The fact that he had to drive to his house and back is the only thing that got me out of there.
Well, and he had more than one gun, too. He had a collection of them, including an AK-47.
I didn't know that. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I've also always had the theory that so there's a metal detector at the school, but I know a teacher is armed. So I'm just going to walk in your school unarmed, go up to your English teacher, punch him in the fucking face, and take their gun from them.
Yeah.
So I don't think just putting guns in schools is going to be an inherently good idea. Maybe 1 out of 10 it works out or something. And by the way, most of your average teachers do not want that burden of firearm training and knowing they may have to shoot, a parent, another student, another teacher. Like, that's not part of your academia curriculum where you're a teacher, firearms.
People think that teachers are underpaid now. I mean, we got to pay them even more if they're doing that, right?
And again, the Uvalde cops in body armor, assault weapons, they were going, I don't want to get shot. But you're going to trust the science teacher, huh?
Well, and also those folks go through crazy amounts of training. I mean, there were specialized units there that are just there, that are SWAT units, and they didn't go in.
Right, exactly. I know that every now and again there's a story of a good guy with a gun that stops, somebody, but there's way more where that backfires on you, literally or figuratively.
And I think as we learned today, you need a drag queen to save you.
Right, exactly. I remember there's a story a couple of years ago, and I I couldn't tell you which public shooting it was because they all blend together in my mind. But they interviewed a black guy that was in this mall when a shooting happened, and he had a concealed weapon on him. And he said, like, do you think I was going to take my gun out and come running out of this building, a black guy with a gun while a public shooting was going on? He's like, I'd be dead in a heartbeat. And he's totally right, by the way.
Yeah.
How do the cops know who the shooter is and who the good guy with the gun is when they bust into a school or a mall or a movie theater? Like,
they don't.
You're putting a target on your own head running around with a gun during that. So it's a terrible situation. And statistically speaking, I hope I've had my public shooting experience, but we're all going to have one. My kids will, you will. Like, statistically speaking, you'll be lucky if you don't.
Well, I hope I'm lucky, dude. I want nothing to do with it, all right?
Weren't you in New Orleans, though, when there was a shooting just like a block or two away, one of the big public shootings?
Yes.
So,
yes.
I mean, you were close enough already. I mean,
yeah. Yeah, I think I've had my brushes with, close calls with all sorts of weird shit like that. So I suppose you're right. The thing that scares me the most, if I'm talking about me personally, first I think about your kids. I mean, I think about our kids all the time. My nieces.
I can't because it'll just haunt me. I'm like, how can you think about that all the time? It's crazy. I don't mean
it's
you.
Interesting.
I just mean every day you send your kids to school, you don't actually know if they're coming back. And I can't wrap my head. I can't obsess on that.
Yeah, you're right. You cannot do it, dude. But you want to prepare them as much as they possibly can.
Yeah.
My niece is going through all, same thing, all the trainings and stuff like that. And to them, when I talk to them about it, it's like it's no big deal. When they're telling me in such an aloof manner of, we had this, we had this training today. I'm hurting inside, thinking like, hey, it sucks, dude, that you have to go through this.
Yes.
When I was in high school, dude, I mean, the biggest thing we used to really do is duct tape people to the flagpole, dude. And once in a while we'd put a bunch of chew in their mouth and duct tape their mouth shut. And that was the worst that could happen to you at school. Yeah. Or maybe you get in a little fight or something like that. But
what kind of drills, though, did you do? Growing up in Michigan, we did tornado drills. Did you guys do like earthquake drills or something out here?
Fire drills. That's all we had was fire drills.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Seattle, earthquake and, obviously fire drills. But that's all.
I don't understand what that must do to a child. It's one thing to say, like, listen, a tornado could hit your school, and this is why we're going to do training. Or it's one thing to say an earthquake may happen and hit the whole community and, like a tornado would. But to tell a kid, like, we're going to train you because a human, an adult, may show up here and just shoot you. Just shoot you while you're sitting here in math class.
Dude.
Yeah. The lifelong damage that it has to be doing to our kids nowadays to accept the reality that somebody could show up in my school and just shoot me.
And they know, they know what they're supposed to do. I mean, that's crazy that they have to sit there and think about, like, oh, you don't do that. Oh, you don't talk. Oh, you don't do this. You play dead or whatever they have them doing. Mm-hmm. The fact that they go through all of that in their head. Oh, if this happens, if the shooter shoots someone in your room and then walks back into your room, you do this. I mean, they really detail into all this stuff. It's crazy.
Yep. We had an incident at my schools a year or two ago where a kid, threatened, I'm going to come to the dance tonight and I'm going to shoot the place up. And the police went and investigated, found that it was warrantless, that he had no access to guns or anything. But that night at the dance, some fucktard kids thought it would be funny to start popping a bunch of balloons.
Oh, jeez.
And my daughter hid in the bathroom and did not come out until the police came in to tell them, like, it's not shooting, kids. It's okay. It was a prank. It was balloons. But she hid in a bathroom with a bunch of other students, thinking that there was someone out in the gymnasium shooting her students, her fellow classmates. Because that's a reality, and it's a real thing. It's not preposterous to suggest that.
Right. Yeah, that's nuts, dude.
Yet, as a whole, we're doing nothing about it, per se, And that's why I say, like, when I see this on the news every day, every other day, every week, I'm numb to it. And, I'll tell you the thing I'm sick of, and I have stopped, by the way. In the earlier days of public shootings, whenever there was a public shooting, we at the radio station, we would stop playing certain songs that talk about guns. Janie's Got a Gun was the biggest one. Nowadays, it's Pumped Up Kicks.
Yeah.
By Foster the People, talking about shooting kids in school and stuff.
Yeah.
And So that was a thing. Like the parent company would call all the stations and say, for the next 30 days, don't play Janie's Got a Gun. And that was what we would do in the world of radio to show some amount of respect.
Right.
And several years back, I stopped doing it because there was never a long enough window without a public shooting that it was okay to put the song back into rotation. You'd wait 30 days for one shooting, and within 30, there's another.
Yeah, you were never playing Aerosmith again.
Exactly. And a couple of years ago here in Tahoe, I refused to take Pumped Up Kicks off, and somebody called me. How dare you play that song after this public shooting? And I told them, go fuck yourself. Call the NRA.
It's a really good song.
It's a good song.
Yeah.
But the point is, you're not going to go call the NRA. You're not going to call your elected officials. You're not going to call anyone. You want the radio station to stop playing a song. That's your big stance you're taking. Bite me. Bite me. So, yeah, we stopped doing that a long time ago. And like I said, part of it was that protest on my side. The other part was just we don't go long enough to ever be able to put it back in rotation again. And what a dumb thing. That's the stance we're going to take.
Well, and I mean, it is. You know, they say to people, hey, if you got to do something, I mean, just do a little bit, and it helps the world as a whole. I don't think it does, dude. I don't think it does. I mean, we have to be doing things that are actively changing laws and changing procedure. Pat Benatar, dude, just got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She made the announcement. Oh, no, I won't be playing Hit Me With Your Best Shot. In fact, I will never play that song, sing that song at a concert again. And
really?
That is how... And it's not even actually about shooting someone.
No.
Right.
But she said, I am going to never play that hit again at a concert or anything else. You can count it out. And that is my stance I'm going to take until these school shootings stop happening, until we change some gun laws.
So she'll never play it again then.
Right. Yeah. And exactly. Yeah. That's a great thought, Mrs. Benatar. Okay. But like you're not doing anything.
I'm sure
something.
the next shooter
You've got
will
money.
not do
You've
it.
got fame. Like, fucking do something.
Right. Yes. Does anyone else, when you go into concerts nowadays, movie theaters, does anyone else look for where the nearest exits are?
My wife does that.
I do it.
Do you?
Yeah.
See, when we talk about these school shootings, and I'm not thinking about the kids right now, I'm thinking about myself, or that my biggest fear is that shooting that happened in Vegas, where they just started fucking popping all those people in the concert. You know, I would thought that is fucking terrible. I can't imagine. So
I've stayed at some casinos in this area because I'm at Lake Tahoe and Reno's just down the hill. And the last time I stayed at a casino in Reno, they had an outdoor concert venue and my window faced the venue. And there was a note left on the desk that said, you know, Friday night from 5 p.m. to midnight, you have to have the blinds closed in your room. If you do not, we will come and inspect your room. That's what they've had to do because they don't want an open window where I could be sniping people at that concert venue down there. So if you're facing the venue, blinds closed, and if we see your window open, we are coming into your room whether you let us or not.
That's half-assed, dude. Come on.
Well,
I mean,
I'm not saying it's a good step. I'm just saying that's where we've come, where it's like, you know, you can see a concert venue, so you don't get to have an open window because some asshole shot people at a concert.
Yeah.
That's the step we're taking. They're not going to say we're searching your bags for weapons or we have a no-gun policy here. It's a don't open your blinds policy. As if you had a sniper rifle, you couldn't just peel the blinds open a quarter inch and stick the rifle through.
Exactly, dude. Or pop them up real quick, shoot a few people, and put them back down. I mean, it's...
Well, the thing about the guy in Vegas, too, was that he made several trips back to the casino and he loaded up luggage carts and even had help bringing his bags up I mean, doesn't it something come off in your head when you see a bunch of these very long cases being loaded into this room and this guy's coming back several times over an 8-hour period?
That's so hard, though. You know, what if I'm just bringing all my sex toys up there or my guitars? I've honestly been stopped at airports because guitar cases look like gun cases. And they want to know what's in it. And, you know, but yeah, what are you going to do? How do you monitor everyone's luggage being checked in?
No, but this guy in particular, though, he actually was kind of a high roller. So he got to pull right up, and he had a special area where he got to pull up, and he had stacks and stacks of these big cases. And
it's also Nevada, though. You can get those things out of a vending machine in the state.
But what I'm saying is those enough of those cases. Something's up.
Yeah.
If you have one case or two cases, okay, that's a couple of guitars. But
what
when
do
you
you
have
do?
all
I mean, what do you do? You say, "Hey, sir, you've got too many cases. You can't."
No, but what somebody who's a bellhop can say is, you know what? That's a lot of luggage that we've been bringing up there, and maybe go mention it to hotel security.
Yeah, but then
that's all. Let hotel security take a cruise by the room and just make up a weird excuse for why they have to stop by the room. So this carbon monoxide alarm is going off up here. Just something like that,
Yeah, I hear you. That's just a terrible last line of defense. We're hoping the bellhop points out that he's got 6 cases instead of the normal 3 or something.
Well, and that's therein lies the problem when you say that, like, you don't even pay attention to him anymore. You're becoming numb. To remain vigilant is what we need to obviously all be doing, but we are numb to it. When I went to my last couple of concerts at a big stadium, they have all this, women can't bring purses in anymore unless they're basically like a clutch, like a little size of a credit card,
Yeah.
They had all these list of things that you can't bring into the concert, and they have metal detectors. So I emptied what I wanted to out of my pockets and put it in the bowl and went through the metal detector. Both of these concerts, my metal detector went off. They didn't stop me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, both of them, dude.
Wow.
So, I mean, here's people were paying minimum wage, and we're hoping that they'll say, like, what do you got in your pockets, sir? We got to do something different, dude. We got to change these gun laws, and we got to really have access to mental health for people.
It's such half-ass attempts, like you're saying. Let's hope the minimum wage bellhop says something. Let's hope the English teacher making $30,000 a year decides to go put their life on the line and shoot back or something.
Even the TSA agents, dude, we put way too much trust in them. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten on airplanes with stuff that wasn't allowed.
Yeah.
Listen, I get patted down all the time.
I do too.
No, but because I can't go through the metal detectors, even after I go through the body scanner machine.
Yeah.
They still because I have the my hardware, they'll still pull me aside and I still get felt up,
I bet you got some hardware going too after
that.
Yeah. So. Listen, I can hear all the conservative nut jobs out there saying, well, what's the answer? I've had the same answer for a lot of years, and it's 2 things. One, like I mentioned, assault weapons that are designed for the battlefield that just destroy you upon impact. Like, those should not be in civilian hands, period, point blank, for any goddamn reason. You want a gunshot you can potentially survive. And so rifles, handguns, those are all fine, quote unquote, but a true assault weapon, no, they should not be domestically available for any civilian for any goddamn reason.
But they're fun to shoot, Steve.
That's the thing. I've said this before on the radio many times. Like, I grew up in gun country in Michigan, and I, like Jane Goodall with the apes, like I blended in with the redneck types to see why they like their guns so much. It's a simple answer. They're fucking awesome, man. I blow shit up. I go out in the woods. I pull a trigger. Something blows up. I feel like I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like I feel like a man.
America.
That's the real answer.
Yes,
Don't tell me
dude.
it's for sport shooting or self-defense. And by the way, the whole self-defense thing, you the head of a drug cartel, what kind of shootout is happening at your home? I understand like random home invasions, but you don't need an AR-15 to stop that. Pop off a cap or two from a handgun and whatever idiot's in your house is going to go running. You're not getting in some protracted gun battle in your house.
And here's another thing too, is every gun needs to be licensed and also has to be registered. If you have to have a license to drive a car, and also it needs to be insured. Yeah. If you want to own a gun, it has to be licensed, and you have to have a license yourself and insured.
Yes.
It's just that simple.
My brother-in-law, who I used to live with in Seattle, he was a big gun collector guy, and I went to a gun show with him once where the guy told him, like, technically to buy this gun here at the show, you got to have a background check and approval. But I think you're my cousin. Aren't you my cousin? That's right. I can sell it to a family member without a background check. So why don't you and I just go step behind the table there, cousin, and we can do the sale. Shit like that, loopholes like that should not exist. So that's an easy one. But my other big one that I always say is, if you're at the radio station, you're at your workplace, you're at a movie theater, and somebody busts in and starts shooting, you realistically get a chance to either run or tackle the guy when he goes to reload. So do you want that chance every 6 bullets, every 10 bullets, every 20 bullets, every 30 bullets? Lower capacity magazines, lower capacity weapons are a smart solution. Give me the chance every 6 bullets, or every 10 I'll even give you. 20, 30 bullets? Fuck no, man. And again, sports shooting, you're a shitty shot if you need 30 bullets to hit the target or to hunt with, to hit a deer with. Why don't you spend a little more time practicing, and then you should only need 6 or 10 in the clip. This high-capacity magazine shit is baloney.
And if you're going to be a sportsman, quote unquote, don't you feel better as a marksman if you get it on like a first shot or a second shot, as opposed to squeezing off 10 shots and blowing it to half to hell?
Yes, I will tell you.
It has nothing to do with that, as we know.
Of course.
No,
I am not
say that.
No. He's agreeing with you. He's saying
it's not Brewski.
It's not for hunting purposes that you need 12, 20 bullets or whatever. I am not a big Ted Nugent fan for many, many reasons. I mean, he's got some good music, but politically, he and I cannot disagree more. But I will tell you, I grew up in Michigan, and Ted Nugent is like Jesus around there. And he used to have a hunting show that I would watch every now and again on a Saturday morning or whatever it was on. And one of his assertions was, a true hunter hunts with a bow and arrow, because that's the art. You have to wait silently. You've got one shot to hit a deer. You got one chance to do a kill shot. That's the true form of hunting. And even he said back in the day, and he may take this back now, that, if you need 12 bullets, 20 bullets to hit a deer, then you're a shitty hunter and you shouldn't even be out there. So I will stand by that assertion.
Dude, on so many levels. I fucking hate him.
Well, I feel like we should be hearing Fred Bear right now.
I wish I had that. I used to have that queued up, but not anymore. But so, a broken clock is right twice a day, and the Nuge was right about that. A true hunter, whether it's with a bullet or an arrow, can do it in one shot. So you don't need high-capacity clips to be a hunter or sportsman.
There you go.
So there you go.
Well, I think we've come a little closer to solving this whole issue, fellers.
Well, we put out practical solutions. None of them will be implemented. But,
No.
Oh, I always think, I think I've shared with you, you guys both know that Rachel's dad was murdered with a gun. And
I did not know that.
Oh, you didn't? Yeah. No. And it was just, this was a stupid thing, dude. And her dad was young. I think he was 23 years old when he was murdered. And it's just too easy, right? And the people that shot him didn't even ever go to jail for it. Rachel looked a couple of years ago and found the guy who actually killed him on Facebook, and he's got a family, and it's just too easy to change somebody. Here's the thing. When we're talking about kids, obviously it's even worse, but when we're just talking about people out in the world, you don't change just that one life. This is right. Continues for generations down the line of changing the complete course. The amount of shit that Rachel psychologically has had to deal with knowing her dad was murdered, or just, not having a dad and having the loss of that, it affects her. Mom went off the rails and died way too young because of all of this. It affects so many different people in so many different levels.
Yes. You've seen it close up with Rachel. I saw it close up in my community with the shooting I talked about. I see it with my kids in these drills. There are ripple effects way beyond just the person that does the shooting or the person that gets shot. And it is a uniquely American problem. And it's something that, it's something we got to take some steps for. Otherwise, like I said, I don't give a shit because no one's doing anything and it just keeps happening. So why am I supposed to notice or care?
That's the thing. Brewski and I were just talking before the show while you were out of the room, Steve, of just having a bad day, or you came in on the tail end of the conversation about being depressed or having a bad day. If you have easy access to a firearm and you're not getting the mental health that, you're not getting what you need mental health wise, it's such a simple thing to either do it to yourself or do it to someone else that can never be taken back, dude. And we make it just way too easy. The guy at the gun show, aren't you my fucking cousin? Go fuck yourself, dude, that you do that. that you don't take it seriously enough, that there are people sitting at home who have loved ones that will never return to this planet because of shit like that you do. Putting these guns, I'm not saying your brother-in-law, but like putting guns into hands where they don't belong, you know?
Yes. It's death at the push of a button. And that creates all sorts of hazards, not only with accidental shootings, but suicide for sure, or domestic violence, where you're in a moment of rage, or you're in a moment of depression, and all you got to do is press that button, and your life is over, or their life is over. It's way too easy.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's the famous story on the day of the Sandy Hook shootings. There was a mass stabbing in China the exact same day at a public school. It was something like a dozen kids were stabbed in China. None of them died because you can survive those kinds of wounds if you get immediate medical attention. Not the same with Sandy Hook, obviously, where an assault weapon was used.
Well, it's not the gun, Steve. It's the person.
Right. I know you can kill people multiple ways, but guns make it really fucking easy.
Should we just ban cars, Steve? Should we just ban cars?
Yes.
Gosh.
Ban everything.
I'm tired of it all.
No, I mean, and being depressed, they say the rate of suicide goes up because, you got death at the press of a button there. Although I will say Bill Burr's got a great bit about how, if you own a pool, the chance of drowning goes up. Like, no shit, if you own a gun, the chance of accidentally shooting yourself obviously goes up as well. But
yeah,
there's a little more complexity to that issue. Domestic violence, it's one thing to hit someone, but if you can go and grab a gun and just push a button and kill them, it's a slippery slope. But that's our America. So. All right. Speaking of domestic violence, should we talk about manipulating women? Brewski, those memes I was texting you about earlier.
Yes.
Let's at least start with the one about the women, the friends or whatever. You've got some other good ones, but I have a few questions for you guys based off that one.
Sure. Just one.
Pull that bad boy up. Brewski is very good about finding random things on the interwebs and sending it off to Nick and I.
Hot dogs here. Long
He's good at selling concessions during the show as well. We have a large, loyal audience that hangs out inside the studios.
So here it is. It says, if your girlfriend has an annoying friend you want her to stop being friends with, just casually mention how hot and attractive that annoying friend is.
Right. So say that again. So if your girlfriend has an annoying friend, all you should do is mention to your girlfriend, boy, your friend is really good looking. And then you're saying that the girl will immediately distance herself from that friend.
Exactly.
Yeah, there might be something brilliant about that. So my first question for you, gentlemen, have you ever been attracted to one of your girlfriend's friends?
Yes. Multiple times.
And how does that go? Have you ever acted on it as just a forbidden fruit thing? Have you ever wondered, should I have picked the friend instead of her?
Well, after the fact, after we broke up, I tried to act on it a couple of times.
Yeah, how'd that go?
It didn't work out, but that's okay. You know, you got to shoot your shot sometimes.
You got to give it a go, right? Nick, you ever been attracted to a girlfriend's friend?
Steve, I love my
And if you
wife.
can't answer this, then I understand.
Listen, I love my fucking wife, and I don't look at anyone else. This is what I will tell you. In all seriousness, not with Rachel, but in the past, I have definitely had girlfriends who have had friends that I'm like, she's cute. And I actually found the best way for me to handle that situation is to tell my girlfriend at the time, so-and-so's hot. You know that.
And then what happens, though? Does your friend never bring that friend over for a night of drinking or anything? Or
no,
it clears the air and it's good?
Yeah. I mean, we always we continue to commingle.
Okay.
Now, I have some, I don't know if this is the same thing, but so years ago, we were out for St. Patrick's Day, and Nick will know this place. We were at the Bonnie Lake Tavern.
Ooh.
Right by Lake Taps, and as you might want to do on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, so we're there, and this is a friend of one of Jen's really good friends that she's been friends with forever. And this girl's sitting there, and she's watching me argue politics while I'm drinking whiskey with this guy who's there, and he's like a raging right-winger, and I'm throwing him everything, left, right, just everything at this guy. And this friend of a friend got real close to me and started like touching my arm and everything. So we're leaving, and Jen says, can Katie, she really kind of seemed to like you. I'm like, well, what? No, and she's like, oh yeah, she was talking you up to me, like, oh wow, Jason's so smart, and I can't believe it. You're lucky to have him. And she's like, do you think you ever might want to go out with her?
Was she offering a threesome, or actually saying, should you go out with her?
No, she was. Little did I know she was kind of pushing me in that direction. It was
kind of like when my ex a few months back was like, "Hey, remember that one girl you used to like? Maybe you should call her." I'm like, why would you?
Yeah, I didn't think of it at the time, but I was just like, no, because it's one of those things where I had a ride, an Uber ride, where this guy's wife is saying to him, they're in my back seat, and she's like, I see how you look at Carol. I see how she looks at you. Mm-hmm. I know you want to be with her. If you want to be with her, I would understand. And the husband's like, no, I don't want to be. We're just, we have a good working relationship. Oh, no, I see how you two are. You want to be with each other, don't you? And so that's kind of where I was.
I now know that's a gigantic red flag when the women start saying something like that. So
what a shitty way to do it, though. Come on.
I will tell you, when I first met my ex-wife back in Seattle, she had a roommate. And you know who I'm talking about, Nick, right?
Kate.
Yeah, Kate. Good memory. It was funny. Like, Jamie and I hit it off right away. And, we spent this whole first day together. And, she had a roommate there. And I think it was on our second date that Jamie tells me, like, my roommate, what a crazy woman. She loves anal sex. Like, she's got all this porn in her room. She loves being tied up, and she's just into all this kinky sex. And I was sitting there going, did I pick the wrong roommate?
She had oversized toys in her drawer. I remember.
Oh, my God. Yeah. And I'm just sitting there going, wow, what a crazy woman. I'm thinking, like, well, if it doesn't work out with Jamie, can I ask her, is that bad to ask the roommate out? Because, yeah, she was a bit of
you picked the right one. You found that out years later because that other chick was psychotic.
No, I don't know. That's not true. What do you mean?
That is true, dude. Kate, she was psycho.
Where did that? What story are you referencing? I don't know that.
So many. I mean, so many, dude.
I don't know.
Didn't
if you're a crazy anal whore, I put up with a lot. As I proved from my last relationship. Yes.
Yeah. Well, anal's important to you, dude.
Somewhat. My stance on that has evolved. But anal represents somebody who is, sexually open and looking for fun and all that stuff. So yeah, I kind of wondered about that. And speaking of my ex, when we first started dating, we went to a dinner party with some of her friends, and one of her friends was just drop dead gorgeous. And I found myself throughout the night just kind of staring at her friend, thinking the same thing, like, well, if it doesn't work out with this one, can I ask that one out? Because she's fucking hot. But I saw her after COVID, I don't know, 7-8 months ago at this point, maybe a year ago or whatever. You heard a lot of people joke about gaining the COVID-19, like women gained a lot of weight during COVID.
Yes.
I couldn't even recognize this woman. She gained so much weight during COVID.
Oh,
and
really?
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was like her older fat sister or something. Wow. Like, she went from drop dead gorgeous to I wouldn't touch her with someone else's dick. And it really shows you, like, you put on some weight, it could really affect the way you look and feel and everything else. Like, drop a few pounds, ladies. Like,
I know all about it, dude. I'm not nearly as agile as I used to be.
Yeah, some of that is just getting older and all that stuff. I get it. But yeah, this woman, I mean, she was smoking hot before COVID and just, woof, fat Albert now. And
wow.
Get on the treadmill, lady. And I will say, too, about, trying to drive your person's best friend away. I hesitate to tell the story a little bit, which means I should probably just go ahead and tell it. But Nick, you'll know again who I'm talking about. My ex-wife had a best friend who was just in the middle of Jamie and I all the time. This friend hated me and was not quiet about it. She had, been rude to me in public before, and she was the source of more than one fight between my ex-wife and I, where I would say, like, why are you letting your friend be such a dick to me in public? Like, why are you not stepping in? If Nick did that to you, at a minimum, I would say, dude, you're causing me troubles in my marriage. Like, just pretend to like my wife.
Right.
But she had this best friend that did not like me. And I'm not going to say she was entirely responsible for our divorce, but she was in my wife's ear. Like, men suck, and she had gone through divorce. And I know she was saying shit like, it's divorce, you'll be fine, you can get a better man, and it was a bone of contention. Jamie and I fought many times about this best friend.
Is this person in Tahoe or?
Yes. Yeah, when we moved to Tahoe. And, my ex, I was with her for 17 years, and she cycled through probably 5 best friends over those years. My ride or die, my best friend, and then that one's gone. Now this is my ride or die, and then that one was gone. Just like, she disowned family members, she disowned me. Like, this was a recurring theme. But, when we got divorced, she had this ride or die best friend that, again, was causing problems in our own relationship. I asked one of my kids recently, like, what happened to her? Like, is she around anymore? Apparently, at some point after our divorce, that same best friend went to my wife or my ex-wife and said, that friend you're hanging out with, I don't like her so much. Like, why don't you stop hanging out with her? And this was something I told my wife during those years. Like, she is just a hater. She is just trying to split you up with whoever you're spending your time with.
Yep.
And now, post-divorce, now they're not friends anymore because she did the same thing with one of her female friends. So I feel slightly vindicated, but yeah, this is the sort of bullshit that can happen between girls and their BFFs.
It's an interesting thing, dude, that I've been thinking a little bit about this because my niece is 18 years old, right? She's got her first big relationship where she's been with this guy for a couple of years now, actually. And I was having this conversation with her, and they recently broke up the other day. And I always tried to get her to talk to me just about what's going on in life. We have that kind of relationship. We're close, and most of our meetups are, we'll go for a walk and just kind of discuss life, check in with each other, and then, see you in another week. And she was not telling me the issues that she'd been having with her boyfriend until they broke up. And I see this as a common theme, and I see it even with Steve in his last relationship. Like, there's a huge problem not being able to talk to your friends about what you don't like about your relationship for fear that they're not going to like the person you're with.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I definitely had that with you, yes.
And I think most of us do, right? Where, God, I couldn't even tell Steve that because, fuck, he'd hate my wife. Or, if I told him this without the context or, and I think that's what was going on with that friend of your ex-wife's is that she had bitched about her to you. And that friend just fucking glommed onto that. And you know what? You could tell me anything about your ex. You could tell me anything about your girlfriend or your boyfriend. I like them because I love you. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to stop liking them until I see them hurting you or taking advantage of you. But if it's just stupid shit, we all go through it. But that girl did. She just globbed on to the stuff that your ex-wife had been telling her, like, Steve does this, he does this. And she did. She just kind of was like, yeah, fuck him. You can get someone way better.
Yes.
It was awful to see because I watched you go through it. I mean, it was awful. She really she mind tricked your ex into thinking you were such an asshole.
Yes. It's the angel and the devil on the shoulder thing. She was absolutely the devil and was taking real things and, exacerbating them to the 10th degree and never letting them go and constantly reminding her. And, again, my ex-wife was a big person. She made her own choices and we had other issues besides that. But
sure,
when you have someone sitting there throwing gasoline on the fire, it doesn't help. And it's not what an actual best friend would do. It's one thing for you two to talk privately, but you don't be a dickhead to me in public. You don't, ridicule me to my face.
Right. Yeah.
Basically pissing in Jamie's ear. That's what she was doing the entire time.
Absolutely. And it did make me paranoid. Nick, you may recall, there was a time with my ex where I came to you one day and was just like, I've been keeping stuff from you because our fighting has gotten so bad. I was embarrassed, A, to admit that we're fighting so much, but B, to tell you some of the things we're fighting about because I assume you're going to despise her and tell her, tell me to get the hell away from her. And you never did, obviously. And, that's a testament to you being a good person. You were there for me to vent and talk, and you gave me some level of affirmation. Everyone's got issues and all that, but, that's what a good person does. A bad person takes that and twists it and uses it back on you and divides relationships. And so I'm glad my ex has gotten that bitch out of her life. But,
yeah, she was a bad person. I mean, she didn't care. She just loved the drama and wanted to control people. She was a bad person, dude.
Yep, exactly. So, Charlie, if you're listening, you're lucky that twat is out of her life. She wouldn't be doing you any favors, buddy. She wouldn't be doing you any favors at all. So
yeah. Hey, boys, Thanksgiving coming up just around the corner.
Oh,
indeed it is.
yes, it is.
Are you seeing your son for Thanksgiving, Brewski? You invite him into town or what?
No, this is football season. He's he's not even going to his mother's house either. I think they have a team dinner because they have a game right around that, right after that, a couple of days after Thanksgiving.
Nice.
So
what are you doing? You and Sister Brewski hanging together or what?
Yeah. We went shopping on Sunday and got everything. Well, I'm doing most of the cooking on Thursday. That's
nice. You cook a turkey?
Not a whole turkey, because my sister and I both don't get into dark meat.
Okay. You're doing a breast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm hoping to be doing a breast that night too.
Hey, dude, turkey breast is the way to go. I'm telling you. Rachel and I have started when we host, we just do a couple, 2 or 3 breasts because they're so much moister, dude. A breast is nice all the way around.
I have a friend who has sworn off turkey for Thanksgiving, and he does a massive prime rib for Thanksgiving.
Nice. Yeah, I've taken part in that. I'm not opposed to it.
I love that. That would be great. But Sister Brewski doesn't. She likes hers ruined. So
well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I don't have the skill set. I don't know that I can learn in time. The holidays have become a whole loaded thing for me.
Yeah.
Seasonal depression. I never literally, I had heard of that previously in my life. And I always thought, like, how can you be depressed at the holidays? Like, it's Christmas, it's Thanksgiving. And I have just nothing but good memories for, Christmas and whatnot. But yeah, speaking of my divorce, I got divorced in October of 2019. So I spent Thanksgiving and Christmas alone. And I've never cried on Christmas Day in my life, but I did that year. And now these last 2 years with what I thought was my new family, with my ex-fiance, and, we built all these new traditions and all, we got a whole new family thing going. And now here I am single again. And, I've been struggling not only with the holidays, but the concept of like, am I going to host Thanksgiving with just me and my 2 kids and learn how to cook a turkey and all of this stuff? And completely overwhelming.
The turkey breast is so much easier, Steve. And it's plenty big enough for all of you. It doesn't take forever to cook.
Well, if I was going to do it, which I'm not, I was just going to go to one of the grocery stores and do the whole pre-made, Thanksgiving dinner thing. But, speaking of Jamie and Charlie and times are changing and all that, we're actually all celebrating Thanksgiving together this year.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, I think it's good.
I think it's a good indication of the sign of the times. We've come a long ways in these last 4 or 5 months here, and they had made the offer, and I think it's a good thing. And Nick, I don't know if I've told you the update. We were moving it up. We were going to postpone it and do it Saturday because Charlie couldn't be here on Thanksgiving, but now he's able to be here, so we're going to do it on Thanksgiving itself.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. I think it's great for so many different reasons. All the reasons. I can't think of a bad reason for it. I think it's great for the kids. They're both going to love it that you guys are all together.
Yeah.
And I think it's great for you. And I think it's actually pretty great for Jamie, too. For you guys to learn how to do this. Everyone says when they get divorced, and I have not been divorced, so I can only talk about it judgmentally.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this.
You're better than all of us. Don't worry.
Well, look at that, huh?
I think Nick did finally freeze, actually.
I think he did.
Or I just blew his mind, finally acknowledging that he's better than all of us.
That's entirely possible too, because I don't know how Nick would handle that information. If he would actually be humble about it. If I know Nick.
Yes, Nick's humble about everything. So
yeah.
And I don't know if Nick can hear us or when he's coming back on, but I'll just tell you this, Brewski.
Yeah.
My ex-wife made a brilliant observation today. We were talking about doing it on Thanksgiving, and she said that. We're going to have a fully stocked bar at the house. Wine and liquor and all that stuff. But now that our daughter, our firstborn, is 16, she was like, she can drive you home. So you've got yourself a designated driver.
Oh, that's awesome.
So why don't you come and, partake, and we'll have some drinks, and we'll let our firstborn drive you home for the night.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Like, boy, that actually is a pretty good realization. Not that I want to be sloppy drunk with my kid or anything, but
no, but having a couple of drinks is definitely a good thing.
Yeah, Nick, you back?
Yeah, you didn't have to kick me out, dude. I was just kidding. You didn't have to kick me.
That was good frozen face you were doing there.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was just pointing out to
face.
Brewski, my Neo can drive me home Thanksgiving night now if I want to be able to have a few drinks at Thanksgiving dinner.
That's awesome, dude. That's
Jamie,
perfect.
yeah, it was Jamie's observation. She's like, Neo can be your designated driver, so we're gonna have a fully stocked bar.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what,
brilliant.
dude, maybe just watch your intake because you are going to be there with Charlie and Jamie.
Yeah, you never know what I'll say.
Yeah, you never know what you'll say.
I'm a happy drunk. I'll start confessing happy thoughts and whatnot.
Yeah.
You-
I love you guys. You know, I love you guys. You guys, you know, I don't know if I told you, but you guys, you're the best.
Right. That could be how the night goes, quite frankly.
My original point before you kicked me off the Zoom, dude, was the fact that when I grew up, my dad had, kids. I have 2 half brothers. His whole life, dude. I mean, he really did things right as far as I'm concerned. And I guess it's a testament to my mother as well, is because we showed up to all these different things and that family would be there and our family would be there. And it was never uncomfortable. Like my dad never let on for a second that this is weird that they're going to be there. Like it was just about getting together and that's, what, this is the way life went and we're still going to do this shit. And I understand it's way easier said than done, but I'm stoked. You've been doing a great job so far co-parenting and this is the evolution of it all, dude.
Yes.
And I think it's great, dude. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for the kids.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be good for everybody. When my parents got divorced when I was a little kid, they had a terrible divorce, but then after it, everything was good. Like we spent all the holidays together. And my dad would come stay at my mom's house and all that stuff. And when I went through, my divorce, I thought to myself, I feel like a failure for getting divorced, but at least I'm going to do it right. I'm going to try to do a good divorce. And it's one of the reasons Jamie and I never fought about anything. We did not hire lawyers. We didn't. I said, you take it all. Take what little money is left in our bank account. Take all the furniture. I'm just leaving. I'm going to take my collectibles and guitars. But, I wanted that part of the divorce to be good, and we succeeded at that. But I wanted us all to spend holidays together. And as you guys know, that first year into my divorce, things got awkward. Charlie coming into the picture, not being upfront about his background, being on a parole for murder at the time. And there were some other issues, that Jamie and I were butting heads on. And I walked away from the whole notion of spending holidays together. I thought that maybe my parents had set a bar that was too high, that was unreasonable. Maybe this is why most people don't do it, because it's just not practical. And I'd kind of given up on that. But this year has shown me, and maybe that's what we needed, a little distance to be able to circle back around. But now I feel like, we're in a good place and we can do all this together.
Speaking of having people in your ear, I think your ex had a big thing to do with that, dude, of making that impossible.
Yes. No, my ex was not a fan of my ex-wife. There was a lot of contention going on there, and some of it was based on reasonable things.
Sure.
The whole Charlie thing before we, got a chance to let time go on and apologies and getting to know each other. Like that was a big thing that you brought home a guy on parole for murder. I mean, that was kind of a big thing.
Finding out the way you did, especially,
Yeah, there's a bunch of other crappy things that were going on too. And then my ex-fiance, she did a dumb thing. She got blackout drunk in front of my kids one day. Like fall down in public drunk. I had to help her into the car. My kids were right there for it. And my ex-wife just glommed right onto that. Like, oh, so I'm the bad one bringing home the guy on parole. Your girlfriend just got blackout drunk. And so there was shit like that. Well,
exactly.
But I'm saying it was all fuel to fire because then my ex-fiance was like, "Oh hell no, she's going to try to use that against me." So there was a lot of pissing in my ear that we should be living separate worlds.
Yeah, no, for sure. When I came into town and met your ex, dude, for the first time.
Yeah,
Jamie brought the kids over to drop them off, and I went outside. I've known Jamie for 25 years.
Right, yes.
She's a friend of mine. So I walked out to say hello to her and give her a hug and walk back in. That pissed your ex off so badly, dude.
I didn't know that at the time, by the way, but no.
She didn't tell you that, right?
No. I think you told me, after the fact, a year later or whatever it was.
Yeah, only because her and Rachel were up on the porch and I got back up and Rachel was like, "Oh, she's not happy with you." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she was like, "Fucking why is he hugging her?" I was just like, "Oh boy, oh boy."
No, it kind of goes back to the original meme that Brewski was talking about women don't like women. Like there's more hatred from woman to woman than man to woman will ever be.
Oh
completely.
And so the whole, stepping into the shadow of the ex-wife and all that stuff. Fuck it. Her name
Climbing a hill, dude.
That other person, yeah.
I am so sick of living in fear of announcing her name. Her goddamn name was Hillary. Who gives a fuck? I'm not saying her last name or anything else. Anyone who knows us knows who I'm referring to with my ex-fiance. So anyways.
I know if I saw Jamie, because I haven't seen Jamie in a long time, I know I'd want to give her a hug immediately.
Yes, and time has gone on, wounds have healed, and all that stuff. But
is it because you're sexually attracted, or you just miss her, dude?
Right. But no, women really have a lot of hate for each other, and stepping into a new divorce where there was shit going on, it stocked that fire very nicely. And I don't know, like we've talked about it before. The silver lining of my engagement falling apart is that it brought me and my ex-wife closer together, and her new guy and the kids and all that stuff. So
yeah, no, dude, you're right on the money. I mean, I with holidays being hard. I mean, obviously, I see it as I get older and have lost a parent, and as we lose people, holidays get a little harder. But also, I had great holidays all growing up. And when Rachel and I got together, holidays became so chaotic when we first got together because
of the different families or what?
No, just because she got into a terrible self-destructive mode in holidays of almost wanting to ruin them before they were ruined. He wanted to take control that way because she had so many bad holidays growing up, and they were just really anxiety inducing for her and stuff like that. We really had to work for maybe 5 or 6 years until we learned to incorporate, and I guess it's always also too, both of her parents are gone, so she was coming over to my family's holidays where we're celebrating none of her traditions, and not incorporating stuff into holidays that make it feel like hers as well. So it was an adjustment period, and I think a couple of years ago we finally got there. But holidays for a long time gave me so much anxiety, and I had never had that before.
Yeah.
Brewski, you have a hard time with holidays?
Well, like for most of the time that I lived in Seattle, we stayed in Seattle. We didn't come back here because my mother always had to work on holidays. Her business she was a pet sitter. And so most of her clients are out of town. And so holidays are really disjointed, be it Thanksgiving and Christmas and that sort of thing. So I would stay in Seattle, and I would actually we would just go to Jen's mother's house.
Right.
And so I would have to do all the things that they did.
Right. Yeah. So you know what it feels like.
Yeah. We would go to Jen's father's house for Thanksgiving, which was interesting because they served Thanksgiving, but they served a lot of sushi because
that's the way the Pilgrims did it.
No, his wife is Japanese, and a lot of her family would come over to their house. So one
that sounds
time,
good actually. I'd love to have sushi for Thanksgiving.
Well, but one time we actually thought we'd bring something to the house that was a little bit different. So we went and we got sopressata, we got all sorts of like Italian meats and everything like that, and we put together a nice platter. And none of them would touch any of that. Like, what is that? And you explain to them. And
come on. Ugh, that's so annoying.
Yeah, and we spent a lot of money on this, but it was fun because I took it all home and I ate it myself.
Right. Of course you did, dude.
Jen and I both did. I mean, we sat there smoking weed and gorging ourselves on salami and sopressata and everything when we got home that night.
You're not too good to put a charcuterie board down, dude.
No, not at all. Not at all. But, it's one of those things where, like you said, you do the traditions.
Yeah.
That's a good tradition to have. You got to have some greens with your Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Can I tell you a depressing realization I've had about this upcoming Christmas?
Please do.
And this is not a solicitation for either of you, so don't do it. But this may be the first Christmas I never have a present.
Come on.
Even the December of 2019, when I was divorced, I started dating immediately. So I had a girlfriend on Christmas who got me, some sort of gift or something. But I'm at the stage of life where my parents don't give me gifts. Us guy friends don't give each other gifts. That's weird.
Your kids get you a gift.
We'll see. So this is another weird part about divorce. For the first 2 years of divorce, I made sure that on Christmas and Jamie's birthday that I made sure I took the kids out to buy them stuff for their mother. And she did the same for me on Father's Day, Mother's Day, birthday, Christmas, and all that.
Right.
But, again, this divide that happened between the families. About a year ago, I told my ex, we got to knock that off. Charlie needs to be responsible for helping the kids get you stuff, and my ex needs to be responsible for helping the kids get me stuff. So now there's no one there to help the kids go get me stuff. So will they step up on their own? Will Jamie or Charlie realize it and step in? I don't know.
Of course,
but I certainly don't have another person that will be giving me a gift. Because when you're an adult and you're a parent and all that, that's pretty much the only person that's going to do it for you. So, yeah, I predict I will have no presents to open this Christmas.
Your parents don't give you any gifts, dude?
I mean, Dr. Harness being him, he'll send me a check and tell me to go buy something for myself.
Sure.
It's not quite the same. I appreciate that. I'll spend that money on weed or paying the utility bill or something. But that's the other thing. When someone gives me $100, I'm probably going to spend it on groceries or paying the cable bill or something. My mom? No, my mom's not doing super well financially, so I wouldn't allow her to do that.
What about your sister?
Nah. It doesn't happen anymore. We're just at that stage of life where everyone's kind of doing their own little thing. And so, yeah, I kind of had that realization yesterday. There's no one around to buy me a gift. So, although I'm working on it, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, nice. Good
Perhaps
for you.
I will have some sort of person in my life in the next month.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see. But, yeah, these are the things I sit around thinking as a lonely single dad heading into the holidays, seasonal depression, and all that kind of stuff. Because I told you guys when my wife declared divorce, I almost killed myself, and then I put my whole family back together, and then the whole thing blew up this summer on me. So, the family as it existed then. Obviously, I still have a family, and I still have my kids, and I'm doing everything I can to make this Christmas special. But it's going to be hard. It's going to be very hard. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Did I just bum everyone out? Sorry.
No.
No,
That
dude,
was fucking depressing.
Listen,
so.
here's the thing. This is what I know, and
I don't want pity gifts from any of you. Don't even.
I'm not getting you anything. Dude.
Wait a minute,
Give me enough.
So if I buy you a fleshlight, you're not going to appreciate that?
No, God, that'll creep the shit out of me. You think I want to hang that thing knowing it came from you?
I'm not saying it's used.
Oh God, if I hope not.
It'll be sealed, Steve.
Oh,
Jeez.
good. No, as I've discussed before, I don't need toys for myself.
Or at least
almost every
up.
Christmas, I do go shop for toys for that special someone in my life. I can't tell you how many Christmas Eves or Christmas Days I've tied somebody up.
Really?
Oh yeah. You got to unwrap stuff, man. Use those bows for something good.
You're a kinky fucker, dude.
No, not really, but special occasions, marquee events, I try to do something a little extra special. So
I got what's today? Monday? What's today? Oh shit.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is my 14-year anniversary, dude. Can you believe I've been married for 14 years?
Yeah, I mean, I can believe it because you're a good person, and why?
Well, no, but I mean, time-wise, doesn't it seem like not that long I've been married?
In some ways, yeah, but no, that math adds up. So yeah, congrats, man. I mean, 14 years, that's a big deal. 14. Yeah. I mean, I always say I was with Jamie for 17, but we were only married for 14 of it. We were together for 17. So yeah, you're about to pass my threshold. So keep the shit together. Work on your relationship. Don't take it for granted.
Yeah, I'm doing my best, dude. But we all make mistakes, but I'm doing my best. I got a little event planned out. I think we're going down to a resort we're going to do Thanksgiving on Thursday. And then on Friday, we're going to leave to go down to this resort. Spend Friday night, Saturday night there. Got her, a little massage, stuff like that. Just kind of hang out.
Can I have crazy listeners call you while you're there?
Yeah, I don't mind. I mean, it's not something I would ever do, but yeah.
Of course not. Of course not. Yeah, Brewski, there was a night in Seattle. I was out for dinner with my then girlfriend, Laura, and the waitress comes over and is like, there's an urgent phone call for you at the front desk. And I'm just like, no. She's like, you're Steve Harness? I'm like, yeah. They're like, no, there's an urgent call for you. Like I'm a doctor or something. Like, So I go up to the front desk and I take the call, and Nick had told a crazy fucking listener of ours where I was, and this crazy listener called me while I was on a date and just screamed at me real quick and hung up the phone. And then I stood there with the maitre d' staring at me like, perfect. Oh, good. Yeah, take 2 ibuprofen, I guess, and call me in the morning. Like, I was talking to nobody because I felt crazy to just hang up the phone immediately. But yeah.
No, was this somebody that we know from the show, Nick?
Yeah, it was my grandma, dude.
Grandma.
It was grandma.
Yes.
Oh, I remember. Okay.
Yeah. So you're wise not to tell me what resort you're going to. So
yeah, I'd love a phone call, dude. I'd love a phone call. I mean, you never really, you never truly forgave me for that. So will you do it now?
It's a classic story. Forgive you? I don't know. It's such a classic. I don't know that you should be forgiven for it. I mean, it was genius in so many ways. So,
Fruitenstein.
Hey, speaking of crazy listeners, we have just set a new YouTube record. Our previous record on YouTube was 1,300 views. We just did 1,400 views on our Chappelle post. So,
oh, really?
Congratulations, gentlemen.
Nice.
Even during the show. That's just crazy, dude.
And by the way, I know for a fact, like we celebrated this week that we had 10,000 views on Facebook on one of our videos. I see it. We will hit 100,000 views. We will be celebrating that. And there will be a day, I swear to fucking God, we'll hit that million viewer threshold. So,
yeah, dude, I believe
onward and upward.
Yeah.
Conceive, believe, achieve.
Damn right. So
yeah, it's coming.
I see it. It'll happen. So.
Hey, Brewski, what are we getting Steve for Christmas, dude?
Oh, I've got some ideas.
Yes. You know,
well, like I said, with any luck, someone will be in my life a month from now, but who knows?
If I get, you know what? If I get you anything for Christmas, it should be a ticket
hooker
to Seattle, dude.
Yeah, probably.
Because Neo's got to have a trip out here at some point, you know.
Yeah, I've been sort of promising them that for 16 years now. So, yeah,
happen,
Neo was
dude.
born in Seattle and has always wanted to see where they're from. So, yeah, we'll see.
It'll happen. Hey, dude, how'd the play end up?
It ended up phenomenal. My firstborn did Radium Girls in a local theater production group around here. And first of all, the reason I keep calling them my firstborn is, you know, my previous daughter came out as gender neutral, and it's a whole discussion we can have for another time. But I respect her wishes and thoughts and all that stuff, and I respect what that movement is about, because I've learned it's really a protest thing. It's not actually about not having a gender. It's about saying fuck you to genders, that I will be nothing. They all realize they are a gender, just for you Fox News viewers out there. But it's a protest thing. But yeah, I respect it. I respect any good protest. So that's why I refer to Neo, who was born a girl, and my daughter Haley is now my gender-neutral firstborn named Neo. So anyways, Neo's big into theater. It's what they want to do for a living. And yeah, they did Radium Girls. And if you don't know that story, it's so depressing. It was a hard play to watch, quite frankly, because you know where the story's going. It's about these assembly line workers in the 1920s, I guess it was.
No, 40s. It was during World War
II. Was it the 40s? Okay.
Yes, it was
I forgot
World War
if it was World War I or II, but these women were on assembly lines painting glow-in-the-dark paint on missiles and equipment.
On watches that the pilots wore, so they would glow in the dark.
Some were watches, some were dials, though. I mean, I guess maybe it was the dials on the watches, but it was meant to be glow in the dark so soldiers could see the stuff in the night. And the paint was laced with radium, and no one understood why it glowed, because it was fucking radioactive. And part of the cleaning procedure for these women on the assembly lines were, in between each thing they painted, they would lick the paintbrush. That's how they were cleaning it, because the factory told them, we're not paying to clean all these brushes, and brushes cost a lot. So take what we now know is radioactive toxic material and lick it. And these women started having their jaws deteriorate. I mean, they got cancer of the jaw, of the head, and they were dying, and they tried to blame it on syphilis for the first one. Oh, she was just a dirty whore. She got syphilis and died. And this factory was, covering up. They hired Harvard to come do a study, find out why are these women getting sick, prove it's not the radium. And Harvard proved it was the radium. and the factory destroyed the test basically, or the results. They doctored it and only showed certain parts, and horribly depressing. So my daughter was one of my firstborn was one of the leads in the play, and throughout it, it's hard. Okay, sorry. Throughout the play, they deteriorate. The makeup gets more and more intense, and you can see, that you're dying. And my kid dies in the play, and I know it's a theater thing, but as a parent, that's really hard to watch.
Well, especially because Neil's a great actor.
Yes, absolutely, and very passionate about it. And there were some moments that brought a tear to my eye and got the audience cheering for them and stuff. But yeah, it was a great run. So appreciate you asking.
Oh, good, dude.
Steve, did she listen to the song, and did they listen to the song? Did they like it?
I've got to ask them, because when they had last left, no. Brewski found this thing that I didn't know existed. And when you first sent it to me, I was just like, what is this dumb thing? And then I quickly realized it was fucking awesome. Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine and from Audio Slave, one of my favorite guitar players. Who are the females he teamed up with?
So it was a couple of the girls from Pussy Riot.
Yeah,
and also
the Russian group that Putin tried to lock in jail.
Yeah, and then Amy Interrupter, who's the singer from a ska band called The Interrupters, and she's phenomenal. Phenomenal. Just when you go to see her perform, how she keeps it going all night long, just all over the place, is amazing. But
cool. The song is called Radium Girls. It's a song all about that story, and the whole music video tells the story. And the song is pretty fucking awesome. Like, it's Tom Morello rocking out with these raging female voices screaming over it. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And so I sent it off to Neo, and I'll get their feedback, because hopefully they've watched it.
Yeah, yeah. I remembered when you told me about the play, I said, Tom Morello did that song. I should share it with Steve. And
yeah, no, it was a good share. You send a lot of stuff over, and it really sticks to the wall nicely, like that one did. And Tom Morello, Radium Girls, check it out if you've never seen it before. It's a cool song, and it tells the story. The video does, anyways, and well, the lyrics do too, I guess. But
yeah.
So that's cool. So yeah, my Neo's been texting me throughout the show today. I just had to reply like recording, like go do whatever. I can't. I'm a good multitasker. So
leave me alone, Neo. Go do your own thing.
Yes. Speaking of which, for any parents out there, I've recently had a realization when.
Oh, sorry.
Sounds like Tom Morello, right?
It does sound like Tom Morello.
Yeah, and it's a very Rage Against the Machine to do a song about corporations fucking over the little man. So cool tune.
Girls.
Check it out. When I first found out that my ex-wife was pregnant with Neo, I remember thinking like, all right, next 18 years, like I have to get this kid to 18. That's the goal, right? To get him to 18, graduated and off. I've recently realized the goal is actually 16, because when your kid hits 16, as long as you can give them a set of wheels, they're gone. I haven't seen Neo in a couple months. My firstborn has a whole new independence out there, having a vehicle that they can go and drive themselves to all these play practices and school, and go hang out with friends and all that. So. Yeah, it's not actually
the big
18.
snow brought it to a screeching halt for a couple of days, and they were going nuts, right?
Yes. Neo did not like that her mom and I grounded her, not literally, like we told her. We live in Lake Tahoe, so we don't get little piddly snowstorms. We get feet of snow. And you got to learn how to drive in that. That is not traditional driving conditions for the winter. So yeah, we got the first storm, and we took the car away for a couple of days, and they heavily did not like that. But we'll get them trained up on that. But otherwise, 16 is a whole. That's really the threshold. And my son is 13, so I've been saying for years now, like I have, or for not for years, but for at least this last year, 6 more years with him, like get him to 18. But no, now I realize it's 3 more years. Just get him to 16, and there's a whole new sense of independence. So
yeah, your time's almost up, dude. Is that depressing you too?
Yeah, I mean, in some ways for sure. But there's also, whenever somebody tells me that, my kid's 19, my kid's 20 or 20 something, and they're out, I always say congrats. Like, good job. You did it. You got them across that threshold. And as a parent, years ago, I remember telling my mom that it is my job to protect these children. And she said, nope, it is your job to teach them how to protect themselves.
Ah, very wise, Mrs. Harness.
Yeah, and that's so there's a sense of accomplishment getting Neo to 16 and getting them out there on the roads and all that. And you're never not a parent anymore, but there are these big milestones and thresholds, and someday I'll be an empty nester, and that's a whole new phase of my life. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it in some ways. Looking forward. I want to see how my kids turn out. That's a huge thing for me.
Yeah, it'll be so interesting, dude. They've already developed great personalities, very independent personalities. Neither of them are followers, which I appreciate. Kind of shine on their own. It'll be interesting to see, dude. I always found this curious watching you be a parent. How long into being a parent did you say, I'm a parent? Like, I think I'm actually doing a good job.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know that I don't feel like I'm doing a good job. Like, I don't feel like I should be patting myself on the back. I feel like I'm doing the job. And, I guess I just have I don't know. I don't want to pat myself on the back as a parent at all. Like, I just feel like I'm doing what I should be doing. And
sure.
If it's going well, then that's good. But it's the old Chris Rock bit about the N-word. Like, parents that say, like, I don't beat my kids. Like, you're not supposed to beat your kids. Like, I pay for my kids. Like, you're supposed to pay for your kids. So, like,
they want credit for shit they're supposed to do.
Right. So I have a hard time taking credit for something I feel that you're just supposed to do. You're supposed to be a good parent and supposed to do the right thing, quote unquote. But I appreciate you saying that. But yeah.
You feel like you go above and beyond as a parent?
I think that's
do you feel
what
like
being
you
a
do
parent
more
is.
than the standard?
I don't know. I don't know what the standard is, because if you're comparing yourself to the losers, then of course I'm doing better than they are. And I'll tell you, and this may break my father's heart to hear this, but I can remember being probably 7 or 8 years old and telling myself I will be a better dad to my kids than my dad was to me. And not that my dad did a bad job, but my parents got divorced young and he moved away and all that stuff. And my dad was never a real touchy-feely kind of guy. And I can remember being like 7 or 8 and thinking, it's comical that you would tell yourself this, because by the time you're a parent, you will have forgotten that you told yourself this. So I have reminded myself of that throughout my entire life. And so, yes, I do feel that I've done a better job, quote unquote, than my dad did. But that means nothing to my kids because they don't know what that was like. They only know me. Everything's relative, So am I doing a good job compared to some people? Not compared to others, but I'm doing the job I just feel I should be doing.
I don't think that would hurt your dad's feelings, dude. I think that's what he wanted.
Yeah, there certainly is that. That's the goal, right? I mean, you want your kids to do better than you did.
Yeah.
So, and I'll tell you something real quick, and we'll see if I can tell you the story without breaking down. But Nick, you've got a cross to bear, at least for the foreseeable future. You do. I can remember, I was my ex, my ex-fiance, we were all having family dinner like we always did. And in my house, there's no TV during dinner or anything. Like, we can watch our devices all damn day, but at dinner, we should all sit and talk to each other.
Sure.
And there was a dinner where my son Crosby asked my ex, if Dad dies, are you going to stay in our lives? And that's a big question for a little kid to ask of his future step-parent. Sure. And my ex said, boy, I don't know.
Oh, wow.
And I was so hurt by that. And I told her later that night, like, she said that, like, boy, I don't know. I don't know. And I kind of made a joke like I'm good at doing, and I kind of laughed it off. Well, of course she is. You're not getting rid of her that easy, But I pulled her aside that night, and I was like, man, like, you hurt me badly. Do you understand? Here's the hard part. I told her, do you understand that if I die, you're the only person left. You and Nick are the only person left to represent me, to be there for graduations, for marriages, for all of these life events, to remind these kids that your dad would have been proud of you, would have loved you, would have loved to have been here to see these things. God damn it, this is the first time I cried on the show. And it fucking floored me that she didn't know would I still be part of their lives or not. And I told her, you better be. You got to be there for that stuff.
Yeah.
I said, it's you and Nick. You're the only ones representing Team Steve if I die today. So, and now, obviously, looking back, like, that was a major red flag. That her answer was, of course, immediately, yes, of course. You're my stepkids. Of course I'll still be in your lives. So that told me a lot. So that's your cross to bear, Nick. If I get hit by a bus today, you're the one that has to be there for these life events.
Sure,
to tell them I would have been proud of them.
You know that without question, dude. I always be.
And that's the thing. Like I do know it without question for you because you're a good person and you wouldn't miss a beat if somebody asked you that. But that should have been a huge red flag. But
yeah, that must have really crushed your soul, dude. I can't believe that she said it she's so aloof about it.
Yes.
Oof. And to say
again,
it to a
hindsight
kid.
2020.
That's somebody that doesn't know how to love or hasn't been loved, or maybe even both.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, as we've talked about before, that woman had no concept of family. And part of that is not her fault from her upbringing.
Sure.
But a big part of it is, she never stepped into that role of being a future stepmom and understood that you have kids involved, other little humans with their own lives and their own wants and desires and goals. And you can't just tell the kid that, yeah, if your dad dies, I don't know if I'll be in your life anymore.
We'll have
you
to
can't
see.
just tell a kid that, I'm done with your dad, so you all just leave the house immediately.
So here's a question, Steve. What was her reaction the first time when you very first started talking with her and you said that you had kids? Was it positive? Was it negative? Was she indifferent?
It was a big question mark because she had been in a relationship previously that the guy had a kid. And I told you guys the story on the show about my breakup. Like, she just walked away from them too, just up and gone one day and told them, like, the lease on this apartment, we're all living in together. It's under my name. I'm not renewing it. You can stay, you can go. You're not my fucking problem. See you later.
Right.
And so she had said when we first started dating, like, gee, I don't know. I had kind of a bad experience before with kids. And she had decided that she wasn't going to have kids and got late in life. And so, she had told me, like, this is my chance to be a mom on some levels, and your kids are further along in life. So it's not like we're stepping into a toddler or a baby or something. So, in so many ways she embraced it. But as I've told you guys off air, and I can't get into it on air because I don't ever want my kids to hear it, that, being in a family is not what she was really up for at the end there. And I think it played a big part in why she decided just to blow everything up because she didn't want to be a stepmom, didn't want to be in a family. And on more than one occasion, I told her, like, being a stepmom, that's a real thing. That's a real important thing. That's a major role I'm handing to you. And
not just a title.
Yes. And she didn't get it. And obviously the way she ended the relationship, just abandoning all of us, like, she didn't get it at all.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting, dude, when you talk about, like, obviously, like, part of that's not her fault and where she came from. Rachel and I had a lot of, obviously a marriage or relationship is all about working. It's never going to be perfect. You work through certain things. You try and make them better.
Yep.
As we were getting to know each other, even in our marriage, like, Rachel came from some bad stuff as a kid, went through some bad stuff. And I remember it being like a harsh reality that she has since taken on this whole mindset too of, like, hey, dude, just because you had bad things happen to you, you don't get to be a fucking asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You don't get to be an asshole because you had a hard childhood. I might be able to take some compassion on that as your husband and give you a little space, to work through some of that stuff. But the world at large doesn't care. So you have to do something about it.
Yeah.
You can only say that for so long of, like, hey, this is why I act this way. This is why I act uncontrollable when this happens because this happened when I was a kid. Well, okay, you've already acknowledged it. So now what are you doing to work past it? Because there's a solution to every problem, right?
Yep.
And that it's a harsh reality. But even when we've had foster kids at this point now, Rachel says the same thing. Like, you don't get to be an asshole because you had a hard childhood. You just don't. That's not the way the world works. You got to grow up. You got to get better. You got to continue to grow.
There's a maturity required to go along with that philosophy, and
yes,
not everyone's got it.
Yeah,
and this circles back to what I said earlier, where Crosby said, can your next girlfriend not have any kids? And it's like, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. When my ex and I got together, I thought it was a good thing that she didn't have kids because the less people involved, the easier things should be.
Sure.
And not having to merge the families, and now we need 4 bedrooms instead of 2 and all this. Like, I thought it was a good thing.
Yeah.
But then I came to realize, like, she had no comprehension of what being a parent was or being in a family was. And that did great harm in the end.
Yeah.
I don't know what I want. Nor can I put that kind of filter on it. You got kids? Good. No kids? Bad. Like, somebody can not have kids for good reasons or have a great concept of family but not want kids. Like, who knows?
Yeah. No, every situation is going to be different. And, you know, like you said, Crosby's cock blocking you, dude. He's slowing. You've already got a tiny pool to draw from. Don't make my pool any tinier.
God, exactly. So, all right, maybe we should talk about that and then wrap the show up because I don't know. I'm down to my final 3 contenders. I feel like for somebody that might be viable and worth spending my time with over these upcoming months, but I'm getting a lot of grief from people in my circle, including you, Nick. I feel like there's a little hypocrisy going on. And I know why everyone's doing it. Everyone wants me to be slow and mindful and cautious. But
yeah.
I feel like there's the hypocrisy is the real world dating versus the internet dating. Like, so I've got this new woman on my list who she just barely popped on the radar a week ago. And at first, I was just sort of neutral, like, you know, she was my type, blonde hair, blue eyes, she hates country music, she smokes pot on occasion. Like, those things right there are enough to get me interested in someone. But then I found out what this woman does for a living, and it just sparked this thing that I didn't even know existed. This woman is a college professor with a PhD in a subject that means everything to me. It's one of my favorite subjects. And you guys know what it is, but we're not going to announce it on the air because this person's very easy to find if you announce what she does specifically. I don't need any of my crazy ex-stalkers or anyone out there fucking this thing up for me. So, but my point is, in the real world, if you meet someone, you know, whether it's the woman at Starbucks or a new coworker or the woman that works across the hall, don't you naturally focus in on that person and be like, whoa, I've met this person that's really exciting to me. I'm going to put my main efforts into them. Whereas in the internet dating world, it's like, well, you got 5 people on the list. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Go after all 5. And everyone's kind of telling me this week, everyone sees how excited I am. And everyone, and not just you, Nick, I almost had to drive to Michigan and smack my mother. Everyone's telling me, like, slow down. Don't marry this woman yet. Maybe she's crazy too. Maybe just like, can we just be excited that there's somebody I'm truly excited about, even if it's only on paper? And I'm not dumb. I haven't met this woman yet. I know I'm only excited by the resume. But isn't that a good thing? And isn't that what real world dating is about? You find one and you narrow down to that one and go after them.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes, it is.
What's your concerns? This is your chance to talk me off the list.
First of all, I apologize if I've made you feel any other way than I'm supporting you doing this. I'm happy for you to find someone.
And I know you are. And I know where your caution is coming from. I know where everyone's caution is coming from.
Listen, my caution.
Can I be excited?
Yes, you can. Well, listen, I don't. Here's the only thing that I want, and I don't even know that I want you to keep it in mind. I need to keep it in mind. The fact that you get excited by certain things, and if they don't work out, you fall just as hard as you rise.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
and is that not a good thing, though, in some ways? I mean, I know I love with my whole heart, and that opens me up to just be fucking violated. But I don't know. I'd rather be true to myself than to have such a filter on. And by the way, as I keep telling everyone, like, I'm already going to be skeptical as fuck as whoever is next. You know, to trust them, to really, oh, you really love me? The last one said that too, and then just fucked me over, so.
Yeah, you're going to be working through all kinds of that shit. I'm talking about just in this moment now with the lawyer. You got so fucking jazzed up on that, and when it didn't work out, it hurt you. It hurt your heart.
Not like the breakup or something. Like, I was bummed out by it, but it's, you know, it wasn't a total crash.
Right. No.
I'm just saying, like, with the lawyer, shouldn't I see someone on paper that has all these great things and get excited about it?
Yes. Yes.
You just want me to
I almost
protect
don't want to say
myself
anything, dude. I don't want to change your experience for you. I just know that the people that are watching you, that care about you, want you to just, hey, think with the head and the heart. That's what we've always told you got to do. Yeah. And I want you to think with your head that we all look great on paper for the most part, right? That's when we can put our best foot forward. But you look great on paper.
Yeah, but my point is I've seen a lot of women on internet dating. It's like when people apply for a job. Like there's a lot of generic resumes where you're like, yeah, this could probably work. But then you get the one resume where you're like, oh, shit, like this person is qualified. I want to meet this person.
For sure,
and that's what's
dude.
happening right now. I've met all these internet resumes that, yeah, sure, there's a lot of good stuff here. But this one, I was like, holy shit, you're impressive.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited about it, dude. But just keep in mind that, that candidate could come walking into the door and, have something that you don't like, that you haven't seen yet, right?
For sure. And I will tell you, and I thank you for this, Nick has kept me grounded in ways that, are good, that a best friend should do. Where I'm a little too exuberant, and Nick has been like, just dial it back a notch. You can send her the text, but don't send her the crazy one you just sent me. Like, dude, take it down a notch. And that is good, and I need it. So I'm not trying to scare you off from being the angel on my shoulder by any means. And by the way, you're the least of, Emily, my mom. I've had other people just be like, just don't eat what? Oh, she sounds good. Well, you don't know. Like, where is this coming from, people? I told you this great thing about her. My mom, I told her, like, Mom, she's got all these things, and she's a college professor in one of my favorite topics. And my mom was like, well, let's think this through, though. And I'm like, think it through? She's like, well, and I was like, if you're about to say anything negative based on the wonderful thing I just told you, just stop. Let me meet this woman before you start talking me out of it. And by the way, what I told you, there's nothing negative in there. So what am I thinking through? Like, just don't even say it. Just stop right there.
It's wonderful.
We get it, dude. It's wonderful. She's wonderful. I can't wait for you to meet her. And I hope she's just as wonderful as she looks on paper and you built up in your head. I obviously told Rachel about this person.
Yes.
And she said, oh, wow, that's cool. That means that she's in the process of gaining tenure. And I was like, oh, why do you say that? And because, like, technically, she said they'll call somebody an assistant professor as they're climbing into tenure, and that
she's an associate professor.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's climbing the ranks.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
And she said, and that is the best position to be in because she's actively in the process of gaining tenure. I was like, oh, it'd be great to have, dude.
See, now me overthinking things like I do, I'm already like, well, fuck, some Ivy League college is going to hire her away and she's going to move across the country on me. So don't fall in love with this woman. Her career path will take her away from your neck of the woods. So.
You never know, dude. They could be happy where they are.
You do never know.
Yeah. So
and
what
as
is
I found
the story,
in life,
dude? After Thanksgiving, you're hooking up?
Yeah, she's in Brewski's backyard right now. I think this is okay to say. She's from the Boston area. And do women around there have thick accents? I haven't heard this woman talk. I don't know if that's going to turn me on or turn me off if she sounds like you, Brewski.
No, it depends on where she's been. And there are a lot of people that I know from around here who don't really have much of an accent. There was a story done probably about 6 months ago about how our accent around here is slowly disappearing.
Oh,
a lot of the newer generations are not picking up on it.
Interesting.
That are from here. And also
I get to see us going at it. She's like, yeah, that feels wicked good. Yeah.
Someone get me some Cheetos.
Dude, I will tell you that having been to Boston within the last year or so, as I go around and talk to people like at the hotel and stuff like that, none of them sound like Brewski or Sister Brewski.
I think it might be kind of hot too, though, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like, where are all the fucking real Bostonians, dude? I need to hear exactly what I hear when I pick up the phone and talk to Brewski.
I've seen Goodwill Hunting. Everyone doesn't talk like that. Come on. And I told Brewski, because he drives Uber, I'm like, if you pick her up from the airport, you got to talk me up, but you won't know it's her. So just talk me up to everyone in your Uber for the next week.
Welcome to the car. If you're curious about anyone named Steve, he's wicked awesome.
That's right. So,
Steve,
yeah, the plan is...
Steve is the very single, very disease-free gentleman standing right over there.
That's right. I told
And
Nick a
he's
brilliant
snipped.
idea I had that apparently someone else has come up with this already. I was going to, on Thanksgiving Day, I was going to send a group text to all my friends and family and include her on it by mistake, quote unquote. And then tell you guys ahead of time, like, this is what we're doing. So reply back like, oh, Steve, you should be thankful that you're such a handsome, intelligent, great father. Steve, you should be thankful for that enormous cock you have that you just, like,
Hey, I was telling Steve that he did not invent this. Do you know what that's called, Brewski? I mean, that's a move that people make, and there's a term for it. Are you aware of it?
I am not.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Call it that.
I was
Let's get a group text on Thursday.
College professor. I don't think she'd see past that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like I have to show up with my SAT scores on the first date just to prove I'm worthy of dating a college professor. So we'll see. But the plan is, she said after she's back from Thanksgiving break here, let's go get some cocktails.
Nice.
Very nice.
That is the plan.
More tail than cock, hopefully.
We'll see. I was thinking about getting our dating coach back on for some first date advice, but I got to tell you, I don't generally struggle with first dates. I have this tried and true way of seducing women. I show up and I act like myself, and they seem to somehow fall in love with me. A few years later, they hate me. But in the meantime, the first date.
It starts out good.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my plan. Learn from past mistakes. Show up, be yourself. And in all sincerity, like you've got to be. Like I can't put up some front or something here. So
No.
that's too
That always-
complicated.
That always backfires anyway.
No, and she mentioned, like, I dated a guy once who I told him on our first date I despise country music, and he was like, I hate it too. And then a year later, I discovered through his sister that country music is his favorite thing. And I'm just like, yeah, you can't play games like that. And but yeah, I'm glad to know that, casual stoner, hates country music, girl next door type. I'm sold there. But the fact that she's a intellectual is, that's... I never knew I was looking for something like that. But when she told me that, college professor, and then she told me what her PhD was in, I'm like, yep, let's meet. I'm sold. You need to know anything else? Otherwise, cocktails, please.
He did. He got very excited.
And by the way, on last week's show, I made a joke about I'm just looking for a nice person. And I don't care if you're a GED or a PhD. And as it turns out, my top two qualifying candidates here, one seems to be a GED and the other's a PhD. So I truly don't care. I want a nice person. And the GED, by the way, seems very nice.
You span the spectrum.
Exactly. Yeah, and Radio Fan, by the way, is falling to a distant third because I texted her a nice casual thing last Friday, just, hey, happy Friday, and never heard back. I did that, by the way, because the GED texted me the same thing that morning, just out of the blue, like, hey, Steve, I just hope you have a great day. And it made me feel good. And I thought, wow, this is a nice person. Maybe I should try this with the other women I'm dating. So, Radio Fan's in third, but she comes and goes. So I'm confident we're still going to meet for drinks, but we'll see what happens. So.
Hopefully she comes more than she goes.
How about a clean bet for this champion?
Exactly. So that's that. That's my my dating world. But I got to get through this Thanksgiving break for all of them, basically, because I've got kids all week, and some of them are out of town, and et cetera. So we'll see.
Well, you're getting to a nice place, dude. We wish you well in your conquest.
Yes.
Appreciate it. So. All right, we're I don't know 2 hours 40 minutes in. Does anyone have any other brilliant topics we need to get into? Or
I don't think I have anything brilliant to say, dude.
Nothing pressing right now. Nothing pressing.
All right.
Oh, Brisky, tell us about Gallagher, dude. That guy who died. We forgot to talk about him.
Oh, I mean, everybody knows who Gallagher is.
Well,
yeah, I had him on my notes, but then I took him off because he died like 2 weeks ago. Do you have?
we keep forgetting. Brisky was a big Gallagher fan, dude.
Were
Well,
you?
yeah, I mean, when we used to rent the videos at the video store all the time because you could get away with it. You know, it was comedy that was everybody could get at the store. And I remember that one special he had with that giant couch on stage, and it was actually this big couch that had a trampoline inside of it.
Yes. Was he the first prop comic, or at least the first big successful one, right?
Yeah, but you know what's interesting is that I heard Bill Burr talking about Gallagher, and he said that it wasn't until years later that he realized that if you notice all the different prop things, the comedy was actually social commentary. Like the whole Sledge-O-Matic thing is all about people buying consumerism shit, like buying shit that you don't actually need, but everyone will tell you that you actually need, yeah, just stuff like that. Like you don't realize how deep the comedy actually goes. You just think it's just a stupid guy smashing melons.
Right. Didn't Gallagher end up a little off the deep end though in his later years?
No, that was his brother. So there was Leo and Ron Gallagher, and his brother, he retired, and then his brother stole his gig because they looked so much alike, and his brother was getting himself booked as quote unquote Gallagher.
Is that really what it was? Because I'm seeing all these articles about, Gallagher started prop comedy, ended up as a bigot.
No. His brother, because he had to sue his brother to stop using the name and likeness in that sort of way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I did not know that. So, okay. All
Yeah.
right. Well, kudos to him. And the other death that happened prior to the show that was very sad for me, Batman died.
Yes.
Kevin Conroy, the guy that has voiced Batman in multiple cartoons, movies, video games, probably the voice most synonymous, maybe short of Christian Bale from his run, but yeah, he voiced Batman for years and years. And
Adam West.
Yeah, we're gonna just forget about that era of Batman.
No, we're not.
That's the only era I care about.
No true Batman fan loves the campy, corny phase.
Oh, absolutely. Had the best Batmobile ever.
The Batmobile was kind of cool, and it's at a casino in town, actually.
But there wasn't George Barris made that, didn't he?
He sure did.
Yeah, that's
that
what
whole
I
TV
thought.
show
That
was a fun little pop culture phenomenon, but it's embarrassing in the hierarchy of Batman stuff to make a joke out of it like that.
Oh, dude, that was the roots. I
They
mean,
had some really great actors as villains. Vincent Price, Milton Berle, and his huge cock were
what?
Don't you know that story about Howard Stern and Milton Berle?
No. Does he have a giant penis?
So supposedly Milton Berle has this huge penis, and he told Howard Stern, "I'm not going to come on the show if you ask me any questions about my penis," because Stern wanted to ask him.
Sure.
And so what they did was they set up callers, and they gave callers questions to ask, and they were calling in and saying, "Hey, Uncle Milty, when you were in a dress on stage, did you know when anyone in the underwear see your huge penis could just drag around on the stage?" And they'd say, "Uncle Milty, is it true that when you get an erection, you get lightheaded because all the blood has to rush to your huge penis?"
I did not know that.
Yeah. But he said, if you, meaning Stern, asked him any questions, anyone from the show asked him any questions about my penis, I'm ending the interview. Well, the callers did all the question asking.
Funny.
And
Stern was always brilliant like that, of finding a way around, that's what he wanted. But, there was, of course, the hottest of the hotties was one of the Batman villains, Santa Baby. Eartha Kitt.
Eartha Kitt, yeah.
I still DVR
no, that whole show was
the
terrible.
original Batman.
Her and Julie Newmar.
Yeah,
But Yvonne Craig as Batgirl, I'm sorry, but she's hotter than anybody that ever played Batgirl in any of the movies.
That's possible.
It was more so than Halle Berry.
Like I said, that
Halle Berry was Catwoman, and she was awful as Catwoman.
Okay,
yes, she was.
Sorry, I didn't. Well, I thought we were just talking about how people were.
No. True comic book fans look at that era as a joke. Like, comic books are better when they're dark and realistic, not campy and colorful. The show was fun for what it was, but that is not something to hold up to the Batman legacy.
Speaking of dark, can I ask a question? Why does every Tim Burton movie have to be dark?
Well, I mean, that's what Tim Burton is,
No. Yeah, branch out. Do something different, for God's sakes.
Well, I mean, the Willy Wonka thing, that was a little bright and colorful. That was Tim Burton, wasn't it?
No, that blew. Because they used CGI.
He stepped out of the mold and fucked it all up.
Yeah?
Because he used CGI for the little people instead of hiring a whole bunch of little people.
Sure. That was the mistake, sure.
He cheaped out. He was actually in Singles.
Yes, he was. He worked at the record store, right?
He just sat in the back of the thing. He didn't have any lines. And then the girl says, "I hear he's the next Martin Scorsese."
Yes, yeah. No, but the whole comic book genre is best when dark, gritty, realistic, and Kevin Conroy, R.I.P., was a big part of that. The gritty, deep, dark Batman voice.
No, I'll leave it to you. I don't know enough about it, Steve. You're the master.
I would expect you to point to that campy 60s Batman show, so that's okay. That's all right.
You would expect that of me, you asshole? Why?
It's not an insult. I'm just saying that was the most popular and it's easy to attach onto. You have to be a true comic book fan to want everything to be dark and gritty. Otherwise, most casual fans would point to that kind of stuff as being fun. That's fine. Right. That's fine. You're okay.
Well, I think the Bakishi Spideys from the 60s are better than any of the Spider-Man movies.
How dare you? Listen, are you talking about the cartoon show from the 60s, Spider-Man?
Yeah, much better than any Spider-Man movie.
No, but that's okay.
Yes, absolutely true.
Listen, the greatest thing that came from that was, of course, the theme song, Spider-Man, Spider-Man. That was classic. I loved that theme song, and it's lived on through the generations. It's in the new movies. They reference it, and there's some lyrical, scores that reference that classic Spider-Man theme song. I have the whole DVD box set for the 60s Spider-Man show. And
Me too.
I love it for what it is. But no, it's not what I would hold up as the greatest adaptation of Spider-Man by any means.
I think so, but I will give the Spider-Man movies one thing.
Well, you're fired. Go ahead.
They're hot. That's fine.
That's fine. That's fine.
I'm not getting paid anyway, so it's okay.
Yeah, you're right.
It's fine.
I'll wait till we start making money, and then I'll start with.
There you go. Kirsten Dunst, hot as hell as MJ. Hot as hell.
Yeah. Listen, all the modern Spider-Man movies have a special place in my heart. So,
Kristen Dunst is cute in a dumb way, because she comes off as kind of dumb to me in a sexy way.
Yeah, that's all right.
Fair enough.
And then, of course, the latest Spider-Man movie that had all of them in it. Spoiler alert. I hope I'm not ruining this for anyone, but are you aware of this, Nick? Because I kept a secret from you for a while, but then you never went to watch the movie. So.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I wouldn't remember.
Now all bets are off.
Yeah.
Well, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, they were both in the newest Spider-Man movie as their Spider-Man.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
It was a multiverse coming together thing. So that was the big surprise.
Spider-Man, dude.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Holland, I think, is doing a great job, and I like what Marvel has done, bringing him into the Avengers world and all that. But yeah, the last movie, they brought all the Spider-Men into the same movie. It was a really cool thing. So,
quick review on Wakanda.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, that's the short answer. They had such an obstacle to overcome with Chadwick Boseman dying.
Sure.
The whole story was supposed to go in a different direction, and Marvel took a respectful way of not recasting him. So yeah, the movie was really well done. I enjoyed it. They introduced a whole new, character and world and all that stuff with Namor coming from the underworld, and yeah, it was well done. It was obviously sad, and it was interesting. I don't want to give anything away from the movie, but they paralleled Chadwick Boseman's death in real life to the character of Black Panther of King.
And they did it well.
Yeah, when it first happened. The movie starts with a funeral, and you don't know exactly why he died. They just basically say he died of an unknown disease. And when I walked out of there, I said to the kids, like, what was, is that a tease? Are we ever going to know what this disease was or what happened to him really? And it took my kids to point out, like, no, like they did it the same way the actor died. Chadwick Boseman kept from everyone that he had cancer and was dying, and then he just sort of died one day. Yeah. And that's basically the same thing that happens to the Black Panther. Like he kept it from everyone, and he just passes away. And they keep the story going from there, and it was cool. It was respectful, and there was a really cool ending to the movie that I won't get into. It was cool.
Very nice.
The parts of footage that we have never seen gets reintroduced, and they set up the legacy in a really cool way. So they could have really fucked that one up, but they did not. It was good.
Good.
Well, I've heard nothing but positive things. I've picked up a lot of people at the movie theaters, and overwhelmingly, that's the movie that everyone is coming out of.
Yeah.
And I've asked them how they liked it, and I would say probably 9 out of 10 people absolutely loved it. Other person had like a nitpicky thing here and there, but no one says I absolutely hated it.
Yeah, there's always something you can nitpick, I suppose. But no, they did not fuck it up by any means. And It was so funny, like what you were talking about. My kids and I were walking into the movie theater, and this African-American family was walking out. And first of all, I understand that, this is one character that the black community has widely embraced for obvious reasons. It's a black superhero. It's a really cool story of this, secret city in Africa that's actually more advanced than anyone else on the planet. And it's really cool. But this African American family's walking out, and they're like, and when he died, so did I was just like, whoa, no spoilers, please, no spoilers. Like, we're walking into this movie, and they all kind of looked at me and kind of giggled, like, oops, sorry, like, enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yeah, I'm glad to see you embracing it. But you don't walk out of the theater telling me how it ends.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a faux pas.
Exactly. So
last night, dude, was a great night of TV. This is my last remark, Steven. I had last night Walking Dead series finale last night.
Yeah.
Fuck. That's the first time in a while I've cried watching TV. All right.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean,
I binged watched 5 straight seasons of The Walking Dead and overdosed on it, and I haven't gone back to it yet. So
okay.
I do want to fish it out.
Yeah.
But you liked it. You thought it ended well?
Yes.
Do they all go to a fucking island already and just get away from the sun?
No, like we were just saying, dude, you can nitpick some things. You can Monday morning quarterback some things. But, yeah, I thought it was a solid 9 out of 10.
Okay.
And, that's pretty good for a series finale. So, and then as they ended, there's a couple new shows coming that, like Daryl from The Walking Dead, is going to have his own Daryl Dixon, and
So
they
I
kind
guess
of
he lives through it. Thanks.
What's that?
I guess he lives through the show then.
Oh, dude, everybody lives through it. Are you kidding?
Rick?
And then
I thought Rick died at some point. I don't know. Never mind.
Listen.
Yes.
They have, and then there's another show. Well, I guess I won't mention the characters that are going to be in this one for you.
This is like when I famously spoiled the first season of American Idol for Nick. It came down to Justin Guarini or whatever and Kelly Clarkson, a boy and a girl. And I show up to the station, and Nick's like, don't tell me who won. Don't tell me who won. And I'm like, oh, I won't. I just hope that she does well with her. And I'm like, oh, my God, I just gave it away. There's only one woman, so oops. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, there's gonna be a couple of spinoffs that'll actually not only spin off but continue part of the story and take it in a different direction for several characters, 2 or 3 of them, and then Yellowstone last night.
Yeah,
yeah, firing up, baby, firing up.
I'm getting there. I meant to do it this past week, but yeah, I've got my access now, so I got to go watch.
Oh,
it.
do you? Okay, good.
So,
yeah, I stole the login from our radio station to get the cable account, so I can start the app on this end. So
good.
So, yeah, I'm gonna go watch it.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'll be curious to know what you think. But yeah, good episode last night, and I will say that all the violence and shit that you're missing.
Yeah.
For the people who are just listening to the podcast, you'll have to describe what I look like. I watched about half the episode, or at least a quarter of it, like this.
Wide-eyed, jaw open.
Fucking like, are you kidding me? What the fuck was that? So,
nice.
Yeah, there you go.
Good. All right. Well, good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in the meantime, gentlemen, have a phenomenal Thanksgiving. I am truly thankful for this show, for both of you being the friends that you have been. And Nick, I'm not trying to bust your balls on the women's stuff. I need you to be my filter. So please don't step down from that. You've been my Cyrano of late, and it's been helpful. So I'm thankful for that and so much more. Truly thankful for the audience out there, all of these social media likes, and those of you listening to the podcast. Keep it up. Help us spread the good word, please.
Yeah, and enjoy your turkey, your stuffing, and your green beans.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, find us online and spread the good word. TheVocalMinority.net is the main website. You can link to everything from there. So, guys, I look forward to hearing the Thanksgiving reviews. And, yeah, Brewski, everyone who gets in your car this week, you just tell them how amazing of a human I am, please.
Will do.
Okay.
Are you a sex offender?
No, Brewski, you're supposed to say, like, he's great. So.
Yeah, that's Steve. Not a sex offender at all. And funny guy.
All right. Thankful for you, gentlemen. Have a good one, and we will reconvene next Monday at 3:30.
There you go.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, we'll figure out the time, actually. I don't know if we can do 3 next week, but we'll get there. We'll be there for you, audience. So peace, happy Thanksgiving, etc.